Thanks, guys. Yeah, 2 o'clock. We are awaiting these Fed minute comments, the minutes from the last Federal Reserve meeting just coming out as we speak. In fact, we'll let you know if there's anything important or noteworthy. Not expecting there to be monster moves in the overall market off of this. But again, this is just a transcript of essentially what transpired during the last Fed meeting when they did say they were going to, A, increase the rate as which they taper back on their bond buying, and also let everyone know as far as when some of the interest rates could be coming. So we'll keep an eye on those comments. Welcome to the close. We'll take you right through to 4 p.m. this afternoon and let you know any kind of market moves that we end up seeing. Let's have a quick look here at how things are setting up right now. 0.37 to the downside for the S&P 500, 0.2 for the Dow. They're higher still. A little bit negative, 1.3 there for the NASDAQ. Looks like they are out now, guys. So just watch the futures if you are in on any kind of market-related trade. So these comments have been released. 0.3 for the TSX here in Toronto. Brazil down on the day. Crude oil higher. You can see a little bit of weakness coming back into cryptocurrency markets. Same story for the tech sector, once again today, being led by software makers back to the downside. Again, CRM, Adobe, PayC, also CDAY, FTNT, GPN standing out, but Autodesk also in negative territory. Semiconductors are weak right across the board. ENPH, SEDG, XLNX, AMD, to name a few, and NVIDIA, of course, back in negative territory. Also helping to the downside, this little real estate group. Big moves in this group today. AMT, ARE, and CCI all negative. Take-Two Interactive, TTWO, 5%. To the downside. We're going to talk to our friend Justin Kozach coming up here again this afternoon about ATVI. Match Group is here, Google's here, Netflix and Facebook all to the downside. I wanted to point out Moderna. We'll talk about Pfizer here. A couple of upgrades today. Positive news story for Pfizer, but Moderna taking it on the chin once again, 5% to the downside. There's Pfizer right beside it, 2.6% higher. To the upside, material and energy stocks were making up most of the positivity, although energy is well off the highs down there. You can see back to basically break even. Quick look at the NASDAQ. It's all about software makers today, semiconductors, and healthcare and consumer services. So there you go. A look at how things are shaping up as we head into, as I said, the final couple hours here. We're just kind of going over some of these comments in real time as they come across. No significant move from the market yet. There was a spike higher, but we're back to essentially right where we were, so nothing too exciting anyways coming out of the Fed comments. But we're going to kick things off with a review, starting with Sean, who is going to have a look at one of his trades coming up here in a second. But as we do every single afternoon, we'll kind of go back and go through everything we talked about in the pre-market. If you joined us at 8:30 regarding the watch list, everything that was moving in the pre-market, and some opportunities that were presented in real time. If you joined us at 8:30, sign up for the watch list, guys, absolutely free. But here comes Sean, ready to go with a review of one of his trades.
Hey guys, yeah, we're just trying to fix the charts up here a little bit as Palantir's moving right now, so it's affecting a little bit of the charts, but this is going to be your trade of the day. It was a fantastic trade off the open, and the point that we're going to make really, really early here is, and we've sort of closed this, but it's 1780, that's all. You just don't see the 1780 mark. We've bounced off here numerous times on the 20-minute. You can take this chart all the way back. We've talked about Palantir over and over and over again, and sometimes it just matters that you look at key support levels. You don't even have to really worry about what the market's doing. Just trade your plan and plan your trade. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but that is exactly how we operate basically every single trade. Sure, some are going to be momentum, some you got to play, like the Fed comes out, it pops, you just punch long, things like that, right? But when you're looking at a chart and when you're trying to base out where am I getting in, why do I like this name, and so on and so forth, I've been looking at Palantir the last month and playing off of this 18, and more specifically it's this level right here, 1780. So let's go over here to our minute chart. So this is what we've been doing today. You can see Palantir down almost 4%. It's been a nasty day, and what you're going to notice is this is the 1780 line right here. So I'm going to talk about what we've done in this area, but off the open, we had a great trade. We were in early defending 18. And then I said right there on the show, if the market's going to fall, right, we want to make sure that we trade our plans. So what we started to do was get long. Now, not at 18 anymore, right? We started to get long in the 90s and then down here at 80, I think that's 91 and maybe 95. So we started to get, no, one is 88. So one is like 95, one is 88. So we get an average price of 90 back in, and then look what happens. It touches that 1780. It comes within 2 or 3 pennies of that support side, and then it's boom to the upside. And we got the majority of them out, not the majority, but we got some of it out, a third of it out right here around 1810 or so. Then it just starts to take off in one. Look at all these green candles. It just absolutely takes off. And then we're starting to get out at 1840, 1850 as our high. And this is a monster trade because we actually held on to a lot of our shares here. And then as we were up here, we talked about having about 10% or so left, and that started to come down until we got to another reload spot here at 18. It does pop back up to like 1805, 1810. We get a little bit out, and this is where the loss actually happens now. So as it starts coming back in, every single pop, we're buying these dips and getting out. But this last one here at 1785 coincides with this bid. So what we're doing is giving it a little bit more room here as it breaks down. There's our out at 1775. So we get out of our Palantir trade. Still a super, super profitable trade. Look at what's happening here on the upside, right? You want to talk about 3, 4, 5 to 1? I mean, we're long here and we're taking out 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents. And then when we're finally losing here, sure, we're getting some of these out. Our average price at this point, I would say, is probably about 1790 maybe, because this last bid right here is an 85. That was the majority of the shares. And then there we are getting out at 75. So it's like a 15-cent loser on the downside. And then we tried it one more time here. So we got in there at 50, defending the 50 level. Then we got out when the 50 level breaks. So that's like a 47, 48. So again, like a 2 or 3 cent hit. And then we're like, let's just reload this thing and see if we can go for a run. It doesn't look like the NASDAQ wants to do that, but there's the reload. And there's a couple decent outs for about a dime and 15 cents or so. And right now, we're almost out again. My low to get out of this last trade is going to be the low of the day. So we may get ticked out here right now live as we're doing this. But again, this is how you're able to trade a name that is negative on the day, right? Palantir negative on the day. How could you be up? This is my most profitable stock today. How could you be up on the long, right? Well, it's about having a plan. And if you look back here, unfortunately you can't see, but these levels, actually maybe, that doesn't matter for now. These levels up here are like 1850, right? So that's where we use these levels to get out. It's your trade of the day. It's Palantir. We're able to get out of this one, but we may get ticked out right now.
All right, more to discuss as we get these Fed meeting minutes. Again, some notable comments coming through, sending the market lower right now, including several participants also stating that there may be an instance in which the committee should raise the target range for the federal funds rate before full employment is achieved. That's the watch list. I'll just go ahead and turn that off. So that was a key point that kind of sent things back to the downside again. Some of the committee members talking about raising the target range for the Fed funds rate before full employment is achieved, which is a little bit of a change. So here we go, back to the downside for the overall market. Wanted to mention a couple of things of note, actually. There was news on Rivian that just sent it back to day lows. Amazon, or Rivian actually still confirming their deal with Amazon remains intact. Amazon out this morning, if you missed it, with a new agreement with Stellantis over in Italy. So they just confirmed they're still in agreement, I guess, or in a deal with Rivian as well. IBM, wanted to mention this as well, because I'll show you the chart here in a second, but IBM up big time today. Yeah, apparently there's rumors floating around. They want to try and sell Watson Health, which could fetch them over $1 billion. So we were talking about IBM the past couple of days, in fact, pretty strong. But here we are back to the upside, coming off with the overall market. But pretty good look again today, guys, for IBM. We'll keep an eye on more of these comments because the market is accelerating a bit to the downside.
Yeah, like there was an initial spike on the market here. I just had the cues up while we were doing this, and the second you said what Brendan was sort of talking about there with participants saying like essentially you could have a faster rate hike. balance sheet could drop a little sooner. I bungled it. I'm not gonna, it is what it is. Like I was looking at this level here on the Qs at like 92.5, and then got out all of it on a keystroke error. And then someone was asking like, why is GFS falling? Look, every single thing that is not turning a profit right now or has a high valuation or is deemed to have one, if you have any kind of speed in the taper, you have any kind of rhetoric that's going to lead you to even one extra rate hike this year or just a little bit sooner, they're going to get beaten up. So we talked about this in the midday show at 2 o'clock. Unless you're really, really comfortable with the position that you're in, if you're sitting there in something that could be affected by something like the Fed, you usually want to either trim, have a stop, or just get out. The only thing I was in that wasn't a small cap that you'll see here is Cassava Sciences. I tried to get more of Cassava Sciences, figuring they would fall into that bucket of something that could get beaten up. I just managed to miss it when I was bungling around in the Qs there, but yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ has just made some fresh lows, but it's not just the NASDAQ approaching now 16,000. The ES now down over 0.5%, and it's broken through the low of the day. So much for Uncle Jerome helping us out.
Uncle Jerome is not a.
No, I know.
He's not. I'm saying he's not a friend anymore. We know that. So, if you're somewhat dovish on the Fed, do not be. They are not your friend. Uncle Jerome, not a friend of the family anymore. So, he told us that. He told us that at Thanksgiving, that they weren't going to do this anymore and that they were raising and all this kind of nonsense. Cool. So, unfortunately, that is what that is. Our Palantir just did drop out there. Obviously, it comes out. We talked about that as the market goes down, Palantir does as well. Still a positive name for us today. Still on my board as my #1 name. So Palantir, good one. And then unfortunately, you're going to see me in Microsoft here, but like we don't, if I was here sitting here, we wouldn't be in this because look at this. A bad wick up to 324 right here triggers me in right here, right? So I didn't want this long until we broke at least, I can check the price. It was 322 and a quarter. So it was a breaking above this VWAP. I wanted the long there. And then something triggered. Unless Microsoft actually went to 324, which maybe it did. I don't know. But if Microsoft did that, then that's fine. Then I should be in. But either way, that was not a trade that we would want to be in. And now we just bought, the bottoms, trying to massage this position. But it doesn't look like it's going to come through. The bottom of the day here, 320 flat. So if we break back below that, then we're going to have to get out of our Microsoft. But honestly, I like the long where we just took it right here against this bottom. So, if you're looking at the trade and wondering why we're in this one, again, I believe we got wicked into that trade right there. So that's what happens. We're on the air live doing the show, but I could just talk about this anyways. I'd be in this position. It just matters that the price doesn't have to be right. But Microsoft right now taking out these days low. And the market right now, Brendan and Neil, of course. Ooh, wow. I didn't even notice how far down we were right now. That's 16,000, man. We just bouncing right now off 16,000 or through it.
I'm shorting a firm here.
Yeah, I would short a firm. Yep, that's a good one. We like that. Square is down half off of its highs. So Square's high was 280. It's down to 140 right now. Is that name getting pummeled? But look at the ES. I'm just focused, the NASDAQ. We just cracked below 16. Like when Arun was here last week, we were making fun that we may never see 16,000 again. And then obviously you could see that came right in there. And this is why you never want to be invested too deeply. And we said yesterday we were nibbling into Shopify and CRM. Good thing we nibbled, man. Didn't take a big chunk out of those positions because they're both, again, down today. So I'm going to do a little bit more work here on Microsoft. It's not a huge position, but obviously it's killing me here. So let's
try. Not just tech falling too.
Yeah, no, I think it's. Remember, this is not. So here's good call, Neil. Here's the ES also falling down. So the ES now getting pummeled as well. The Santa Claus rally officially ended today. So if you go by the historical numbers, and I don't know what they call the movement after Santa Claus rally. What about the day of reckoning? This is not even that bad, but it could get a hell of a lot worse. So just keep that in mind. Like if you're thinking, oh, what am I going to do? These stocks are all the way down. Nah. Go back to 2000. Find out what happened when the internet crashed. The internet bubble there on a lot of those names, and you'll see exactly the destruction that could happen. Even a name like Microsoft could go down for like 20 straight days. I mean, we'll have to wait to see what happens here. Beyond Meat, low, Twitter, like
Apple even right now.
I mean, look at Twitter. Like this was a mistake to get out of Twitter, but still, look at this. Like, look at Twitter. Like we were short. We wrote it down on the sticky note. Like we wanted this short. Look at this. Like, do we have any idea it would fall apart like this? DraftKings, the short call was at 27.
Don't look at GM.
Yeah.
Well, no, look at GM.
Yeah, let's look at GM. Let's actually look at GM.
Let's look at GM because
let's look at GM.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter which chart.
Now look at mine.
Doesn't matter.
Yours is good too. We both tried it numerous times. Look at me and Neil here. Look at our charts. Like
Neil and I.
Neil and I. Yeah, me and Neil. Now forget it. We're not in school anymore. My kids aren't in school. I don't have to pronounce anything properly. Look at this. So you can see right now. Forget English language, Neil. We're trading here, man. But Neil and I both short GM. And yeah, we didn't give it enough. It came right to 66.50 here, and then it was Tank City. So we're still. Actually, no, I am red on GM. So I am negative on GM today. It's embarrassing when all these purples are shorts, and there it is. And I said it would sell the news as soon as she came on, and that's exactly what happened. I think she came on like right here, like at 12:25.
It was noon, the press conference.
No, but I think she came on CNBC or so around.
Oh, wait, she came CNBC after the
Yeah, but anyways, I don't know. I obviously I wasn't.
Some claims got made that are a little bit crazy from GM, let's just say. Like fully autonomous by the middle of by the middle of the decade, which is 3 years away from now.
That's the thing. I don't know the story there.
They pull that off, and it's like, okay, I just don't think that's that realistic a goal. Anyway, the only thing I'm in is a firm in Sava, just because I was already in Sava, that was dying, but a firm, it's like pick the thing that was beaten up the most, that was at a level that you could find that you could short when the market was breaking down. That was a firm. I should be taking, we're actually bouncing back through 1600, so I should probably be trying to take at least a little bit off here. I just got a position in Oxy that I've been leaving in for a while, sort of waiting around for Oxy, and then post-Fed, it's like you start to see some prices, obviously, on moves like this that you're waiting around to catch a bit of a bid. And I was looking at Oxy all day long, and then it comes on the Fed day. I'm actually going to get it off the bottom here. So if I'm going to pick something to go long, and it's going to be energy. A firm I just trimmed a little bit, so I don't even know what page I'm on here. I don't know what these are. That's for a firm. We'll see what happens. I just got Oxy long off of 32.50 support.
All right. I was just talking to Justin, guys, there. He's all over that GM story as well and is going to join us here in about 20 minutes or so. We'll discuss that GM story a little bit more because it's interesting, as Neil was saying there. Some members preferring letting MBS run off quicker than treasuries. Just going through some of these comments. PCE to fall about 2.1% in 2022, remain high through to 2024. I mean, they're talking about supply chain issues lasting into 2023. The rest of it seems more or less what was expected or what we know. So I wanted to mention Pfizer here because we mentioned, if you joined us in the pre-market this morning, positive news on Pfizer and BioNTech once again, working on a shingles mRNA vaccine. There's also a couple of upgrades on Pfizer today, but I mean, you see the rest of the market, down here, Pfizer holding up nicely, guys.
It would be fantastic, man. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that suffer. My grandfather suffered from shingles as well, and that would be awesome for mRNA. But unfortunately, right now, Brendo, being a trading show and being in some positions here, we are focused right now on Microsoft. I'm trying to buy some 319.50s or so. I think that has a good opportunity to make some money here if we're able to get something that low. But for right now, my mind is on that, and I will check out mRNA in a minute. But yeah, that's been a name that's been a fun one to trade, especially on the downside here as it continues to go on. I don't know what it's doing now, but I can only imagine that name might be in the dumpster as well. What's going on with Sava?
I didn't cancel a Sava bid. I'm on the bid in VWAP because I always make a trade like this. You guys probably understand by now. Like, you get a spike, double top at 55, first leg to first resistance or supporter resistance, and the next leg usually VWAP, and it's usually keep it pretty simple. But then when the Fed does this, you should usually just say, if you're in the right direction, pull your bids and start thinking about lower and lower and hold on to it. Pfizer was frustrating for me today because I like the long, right? I like the long. This chart has a little bit of a wick here on Pfizer. I like the long. I had it early in the pre-market. We then took some out in front of 56. I reloaded it, got some out above 56. Looked pretty good. I got in maybe a little bit too early here at 55.70 and just stopped it out, and then didn't get back in when it settled down, and then made a fresh high. You're now barcoding, so I don't see a trade in Pfizer this afternoon. If something pops in, like, fair enough, we'll go with it. But I just got in and out of Oxy. Like, I went long in front of 32.50, or that didn't last very long. It took out that 50 level pretty quickly. I was about 12 cents in front of it. I'm still in this Affirm, and look, I should have been in like the Qs or something. The second like the later comments started getting read. Because remember, when it's the meeting minutes, like the initial move, you don't want to fall for it. You actually want to start as people start posting what's deeper in there, get a better sense of it, because the initial move can often be wrong, and there was a small spike to the upside. And even in a firm here, that came up as well. But we're probably likely, as long as the market keeps going, we're holding below 16 on the NASDAQ. I can't see a firm not testing the low of the day. I'm sure there's other names I could call up here. It's always like the first thing that comes to mind, right? Like, what was the most beat up yesterday that we know is under pressure, that we know has a high valuation, and then make sure that's in your back pocket, because you don't want to be scrambling like, oh, what's a good short? And obviously, you could just short the futures and the Qs, and I could have just gone back there, but have something in your mind in either direction of what you wanted to play. Like, maybe your jam is jumping into the banks on Fed Day. Or maybe you like trading GDX, maybe you like trading gold. Like, I don't know. Like, you have to find what your pocket is. I just felt like a firm would have been an easy one when the market started to come down like this. So that's the only reason I'm in it. We'll see what happens when it gets to the low of the day.
Yeah, that's a jam. Yeah, banks. Look at banks. Look at JP Morgan going downside. Now, again, we have Brendan here, so that's been fantastic. But you really got to try to figure out what these guys are talking about here to understand what's happening. But banks right now is sort of, I don't want to say getting woodshedded, because they're not really. It's just they are going to the downside right now, and I'm not 100% sure what was being said there, because in an increased interest, maybe there's people talking about why this is going to be affecting some banks here. But again, as long as they were sort of staying the course here, I think that's good for banks. Lending, they're making more money, when the interest rate goes up, because again, there's people out there with variable, loans, and they can actually lend out at a higher rate, which makes their books a little bit better, any of the loans they have on their books. So we'll have to find out what exactly is happening here with some of these banks. Morgan Stanley again, another one. Oh, that looks like, yeah, okay, they were so good today. This was up to 105. I wouldn't be worrywart here about any of the banks. This might actually be a good opportunity to pick some up, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah, it might be. I'm kind of looking for something that isn't selling off right now, to be honest with you. Like, there's a few things that are holding. Like, Pfizer's holding, I think, because of the good news it had. But you know what? Like, I can go right here to because Danaher, because I was watching this one. This is the one I like. They sold off as well. So another healthcare name that, so Fed comes around, and you would think that maybe, again, their valuation is probably not as simple. Like, they're not a dividend play or a big val name. So a value name maybe as much as Pfizer or something like an Eli Lilly might be, or something along those lines. But they got pumped down a little bit here today. So it does feel like there's a lot that's fading. We're almost at that low on a firm. I'm just going to check back in because I have to. On General Motors, because it was at that bottom. Yeah, it's still actually right here. Like, GM's right at the 63.8, which is now a double bottom. So, it's holding the low for now. If you want to look at it, my 15-minute here you go. Yeah, on the 15-minute, if you look at it yesterday, remember yesterday's run on GM was like Ford leading the way, and everyone knew this was coming, so I'll sell the news type of event. The big pullback that it had before lunchtime was basically right to here, like this 63, 65 level. So, you crack this and you have a bit of a gap to fill, and if the market continues to go, that's the level that I think you got to look at. I haven't checked for, because when this happens, like, you try to stick to what you're watching. If you're jumping around too much, you might miss some opportunities. But I would imagine, if I had to guess, Ford would not be pulling back as much as GM. Yeah, like Ford's here. It's at a support level, but again, it's a higher level support. Like, if you're talking about yesterday's support, it has yet to break what looks like the afternoon support would be around like 24 even, and it's still like 20 cents away from that. And then even from the morning, like, it's got some levels that it could still fall back into, but everything is falling. It's not like I can find much of anything that's holding up right now.
True. A lot of things here falling down, obviously, as Neil and I sit here and try to watch the carnage take place. I'm only into one name right now, that's Softy. We'll see where it goes. We just took that bid there. We got it at 50 or I don't know, what was my exact price there? I think it was 55. So we got a 55 bid. You could see Microsoft fall. We only started this position here. Like, normal, I like the position. I don't think there's any problems here. You're barcoding. We'll see if the NASDAQ gets going. We do want to be in Microsoft. Again, what I believe to be a strong name anyways here. So we'll wait to see if it goes back up to the upside. This was a mistake. This was a bad wick up. And again, I don't know if it actually hit 324. Like, I seem to think that might be wrong. But we'll see. Anyways, up to 320.40. I think we could take a little piece out if we go up there. We're long at 320.70 off some of that bottom bid. So Microsoft today has traveled well, man. We opened at 328, then it basically barcoded all afternoon. I don't know if we get above, like, these are the levels that I really did want if we took out some of these highs. But as you can see right now, struggling. Microsoft today not really any upward moves at all. So maybe they get going now, but we're going to hold this position tight and see where we go on softy here.
Yeah, like, I mean, someone was just talking about, I saw someone put in the chat, like, Boeing. I mean, look at Boeing. Like, Boeing's still up on the day, but that just came off $3, right? If I pull up Caterpillar, the Caterpillar's move isn't that bad, but it's off a couple of dollars here. I'll pull up Pepsi, which, again, like my two favorite, like, if the consumers to hold on to, it's like I like Pepsi and Procter. There's lots out there. It's a matter of preference. It looks like 2 o'clock came, and the spike up, and they came down. Now, there's been a bounce, at least in Pepsi. I'm not going to bother to check Procter. There's no point going over all of them. But the initial read of falling, it was like banks, it was we didn't check durables, but it was your industrials moved down. Everything in healthcare, with the exception of Pfizer that I could check, had a bit of a move down. So you want to see, as things start to level off, where the strength starts to come in. So Pepsi is getting a little bit of a bounce here. We already noted Pfizer hasn't fallen too much further. The affirmed position that I'm in, it looks like it's trying to bounce at the low, but that's not a very convincing one. That's why I'm going to hang on to it. And when in doubt, zoom out. I mean, Affirm it doesn't really have levels once we broke that 86 area, and we broke that yesterday. So, like, I don't know what we're talking about here. You're probably talking about firm support at 70 if you're looking for a cluster of trade. It's like 70 to 75. So I'm probably looking at 80 even, which we're pretty much at right now, and saying if it holds up there, I'll probably cover it. But there's not much else to look at in terms of levels on something like an Affirm. And that's what happens when a stock goes up fast. It has days like this. Well, then when it goes on the way back down, those are gaps to be filled back, right? Like, you've seen it happen on other names, just because it's Affirm, and I went from like 50 to 180. What goes up can come down very, very rapidly here. So 80 levels, pretty much all we can look at. If it bounces, fair enough. I really should have held on to Sava. Like, that's now down at 50 half. It just keeps falling like a rock.
So we did, oh man, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of names here that we should be trading right now. Your Procter & Gamble is starting to go back up, so that was a good one. Oil still positive here today on the XLE. Let's go softy. On the XLE is trying to be positive as well here today. So, we'll see. That's just now ticking to the bottom. It's maybe a good trade to go long here if the market does rebound. XLE, right now we can check out XOM. Did I just get another fill there? Hopefully I did on NASDAQ. I don't even have an offer out. Oh man, what am I doing? I thought I had an offer out for softy, but I guess I do not. I just took a little bit there in the 20s. Okay, now we're upside. Take another offer here if we can on softy into the high 20s. Just a little bit more push. And we'll take it out. Oh, it just stopped there at 25. Oh no, I did get it out. Okay, yeah, I did. Sorry, my bad. Oh, I just got out 2 times there. I didn't mean to do that. But now Softy starting to go back up to the upside here. So let's go, Mr. Softy. We'll see if it can get going there. And again, trying to stay in names that I believe in, right? And Microsoft is going to be one of those names here. It's my favorite name to trade. When there's craziness happening. Hey, I like this view. What's up, guys? You can see in the background, we can't wait till we get more traders here. But right now, of course, it's lockdown in Ontario. Shout out to Marissa, also your wife there, doing Omen's work with these kids. Like,
day one of
day one was
homeschooling
a bit of a disaster there in your house.
It's a mixed bag, man.
Okay, good.
It's a mixed bag.
Well, that's fine.
It wasn't all bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't all bad.
Better than disaster. Better than mixed bag. We'll take it. And a shout out to everybody that's at home with their kids as well. You know exactly what we're talking about. And if you don't, well, then you must have some saints.
We should just look at ARC.
Believe me, my kids. I'm just imagine what my kids are like. They're driving my wife nuts. So hopefully that'll get going there. But oh wow. Oh, a name that I like that I was just looking at right now. I'm not in this yet, and I don't know. Like, I pulled the trigger yesterday on CRM. I mean, I think Salesforce is about as good as it gets as far as like a value kind of tech play there. I really, really like Salesforce. Look at Unity today. This is another name. I don't even want to look at Roblox. Oh, wow, IBM up 2%. Wow, that thing is a monster. I'm actually in IBM. I've been in IBM for years and years. But look at Unity, man. Just down to 122. Like, this stock getting absolutely pummeled. You want to look at? I don't even want to look at Upstart, Roblox. You're already shorting a firm. That's great for that. But look at Unity, man, down to the 200 period after just being at 2 bills. Now you're back. I mean, I guess it's the same. This shouldn't really surprise me. A lot of these names. This looks very similar to a firm.
Shopify,
let's see. Yeah, Shopify too. We bought some Shopify yesterday. Mistake. But again, you got to nibble. Like, this is the thing. On the days, and I don't know when the up moves are coming, so let's not try to predict anything.
Matt, remember what we said?
What?
Look for things that are showing a little bit of relative strength, right? So when you see some of those high valuation names fall and look pretty ugly, I look at the Shopify chart today, and look, I always watch it in Toronto, so you guys understand. If you see 1,500, that's in Canadian dollars. But like, it does come down a bit. It's already bouncing. You're still seeing the market head towards those lows, and Shopify is holding up pretty nicely. I know it already dropped a lot yesterday, but that just kind of shows you, like, anything that's going to show some counter strength on a day like today, that's a place you can feel a little bit more comfortable nibbling early. So it's good that you got to scan through some of these names on your list. Not just, you don't have to trade. Like, sometimes you can sit back and learn. I would have assumed, like everything else, that Shopify might be at the bottom, but it is absolutely not, and it's still recovering. It might actually, it wouldn't be crazy if it could at least maybe get close to the high the way it's going right now. That would be a great sign. Anything making a high after this is, like, that's a winner you got. Was that Brendan?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, another one to add to the list here, guys. Roku, 10% on the day. It was down anyways because of multiple downgrades already, but interesting level here over on the daily chart for Roku. Also trying to bounce here, back above 200 as we speak for Roku. I mean, Square 6%. PayPal's actually holding up pretty good, back to about 190.5 for PayPal, but big move down again today for SQ as well.
This is hilarious on Microsoft. Did I get the fill there? No, I didn't. I don't think I did. Look, I click on Microsoft and it switches it to jpm.nq. Like, okay, there we go. All right, so that was on the daily. Oh yeah, I did get it. Okay, good. I was gonna say, if I didn't get that 40 there, I was sitting there watching it basically bounce up to 40 and not fill anybody, let alone me. And then there it goes up to the upside. So yeah, okay. We're now starting to be a little more positive here on Softy, as that was the savior right there. And why did we take that? If you go down here, look, I mean, it's gonna be hard to zoom in, but there's a 1950 right down here that's hit there. We did break it 2 days, but I was kind of using that 1950, which is why we were very, very close. That's the 1950 bid there. That's why we put the bid there. Can never predict, obviously, this kind of a move. I mean, we could predict it. The market's trying to bounce up here. So there we go, Softy taking nice profit there. Another piece out. We're half out. We're half out of Softy. This was more the problem, and then we averaged in there, which was good. So this trade, I still think, was not something that should have came in, but again, it triggered in and you're responsible. This would have been a trade where if it came in like this on that big spike and then came right back, I'd almost consider this just like a keystroke. If you ever get in on something that where, I mean, again, if it hits up there, it hits up there, but where that happens and you get in and that's like, I don't want in on that, then that's where you quickly cancel your order and then just punch out, right? Or you don't do what I do, come back from the trade of the day and just buy more. But that's not very responsible. But again, it was at the bottom. I liked it, and we did talk our way through this. So at least there's that. What's up again, Brendan?
Not seeing a huge reaction on this, but worth a mention here, guys. Nike suing Lululemon for a patent on their mirror home gym, which I feel like they bought from a private company. But anyways, Lulu down 3%. You can see huge volume came in there on that headline, guys.
Patent infringement over mirror home gym. Like, how? I don't even understand. Like, how can you like patent that? Like, oh man, I don't know. I'm not a patent lawyer, obviously, or anything like that. But like, you're patenting mirrors now? Okay. We'll see how that goes. And good luck to Lululemon. I don't know. These guys have lawyers that are coming out their wazoo. So that's not going to get settled anytime
Lawyers
soon.
always get paid, man.
That's
what happened.
That's why our legal system is such a mess.
Okay, thank you guys. Soldier for Christ here. Excellion. It's name in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Excellion just popped. I just thought, look, it's not. I guess it's a pretty decent sized move. Like, it's about $1 or so, but I have to double check the news to see what happened. I didn't catch anything on the wire. I just pulled it up when I saw it in the chat and then saw the volume spike. I'm going to assume that something maybe just happened here on EXC, but it's already starting to come back in. So it could be one of those like sell again. Even if you get positive news, like you kind of saw that, like Nike didn't move there, Lulu was already coming down. You might see it just sort of come back down here because the market is still continuing to fall. So just watch out on this EXC. I don't know what the news is, if there was something that just dropped.
Yep, and that's the other thing, right? You got to pay attention to news, especially in this environment. I know that sounds crazy, but like anything can move any market now. You get like one piece of bad news that in an up market, people wouldn't care about, but then today people don't need reasons to sell, let alone news like that. We can check in quickly on Lulu just to see what that's doing. This should be getting killed anyways today. Not killed, but I mean the retail's been pretty strong. So there's the move down. That story was probably about 10 minutes old or so. So it is starting to accelerate to the downside. But as you see here, as is the market. So Lululemon basically not moving on that. And like I said, lawyers get paid no matter what. So this will probably extend for a couple years before they figure that one out. And I'm just saying that I have no idea. Nike as well, 163. Okay, Nike's been a good name for me, man. We've been sort of hiding out in here, but we're long at 145. Right off of down here, which has been amazing. We didn't get anything out up here when it came all the way to the upside. I still think it's okay, but again, like we said, in this environment right now, I'm not sure what is okay. I thought banks had a chance to survive, and today, okay, nice little move back up there. Sorry, my bad. That was a daily chart there.
They hike rates. Nike's good, man.
I mean, I would have thought, I think they're all fine. It's just, this is going to be a couple days now, man, where we had a monster run up. I mean, look, let's just be real about everything. Hold on a second. I'm going to call up the triple Qs here just to show everybody. So, although a lot of our stocks are getting absolutely pummeled, there's no doubt about that, right? But when you sort of look at what the Qs are doing, we've been here before, man. Like, this is the NASDAQ, right? It's been so choppy since November. This is November 4th right here, right? Like, we're only back down to where we were on December 22nd right now. So if that's what I was trying to, like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news to everybody and things like that, but like, if you think this is bad, like, we can test, man. We can test back to October levels. Like, why is that not possible back down here, right? So let's just sort of like, when you zoom back out, you look at the NASDAQ, and we're just breaking the 50 period today. So there's still a lot of room to go to the downside. We've sort of rode this 200 period the whole way up. Can it get tested again? Maybe it can. So we could see here, it wouldn't surprise me if the Qs fell to like a 370 print, which from here, I don't know, Neil, do the math here, like $20 on 380 to the downside. So with that,
that's just over 5.5%.
So that's the kind of downside about that we have here coming through. So, you know, 5% more to the downside wouldn't surprise me. Do we want it to happen?
Just sort of keep in mind, and when the Qs, look, I shouldn't say when, I should, like, if the Qs drop that 5%, just always remember there's a lot of names in there that are going to fall like 20 to 40. Right, like, it's just understand, and this is why we're going through the exercise of pointing out the Affirms of the world. It's just, those are the ones that are under that pressure. That's why, look, like, I'll tell you right now, like, Nike's not
100%.
Nike's probably not, I never say never, probably not dropping 20%. Pepsi's, like, those things are not, Pepsi's not going to, like, some of the good companies, like, you know, like, if you diversify, like Nucor, Caterpillar comes with it, some things are going to be under pressure, some aren't. I know everyone wants to look at every symbol out there. I was about to call up Peloton, which for some reason is not on my quote board. That is not intentional.
But is Peloton like $10 today or something?
$32.70. But actually,
what?
so I mean,
That's
like,
actually not
a few
that
days.
bad.
So Affirm's actually held the low for now and it's coming back up again. I'm gonna have to cover this because look, Peloton's holding the bottom. Even as the NASDAQ is holding the lows, I feel like some things that got beaten up enough. Yeah, because Affirm got crushed yesterday. I can kind of zoom out and show you if you haven't seen what happened. I guess Affirm made that bottom. Let's look at the 15-minute. Affirm got crushed yesterday. So if you look at the bottom that it made, because it held up through that, I kind of feel like maybe if the market drops further, it's kind of done everything it wants to do here because it was so bad yesterday that if it holds that low, I suppose like all the selling is done, even though the market continues to fall. That's about the best theory I have. So might have to bank that profit, but there's still time, for this to settle down a little bit here. Oh, I do still have that SENS. If anyone's watching small cap still, I'm still in this thing in the morning. Remember like that 3 break? It ends up holding 3 again, so I just reloaded it and then just sat it out and waited till it got to the bottom at 85 again. Just keep in mind, 85 had a buyer pretty much all day long, which is still happening on this one.
Neil's mic apparently problems. So we'll shout out to Rob and Lucas. They're going to get on that mic problem. I don't know, people saying it's bad audio. Your mic is cutting out. All right, my stream is completely, the mic is gone. Okay, I know it's our internet, but it's because we're working on that computer, I think. Okay. All right. I'm just looking, I'm trying to find the stream to see what is happening right now. But if you can, in the meantime, guys, I know this is a bad time to do this, but we only have 300 likes. Let's get the like count. I think the stream is down because our likes are so low. So let's see if we can get those likes to go up here. YouTube is like, oh, wait, normally they have 1,000 by now. What's going on? So
punish them.
Yeah, punish them. If you got to hit the like button right now, that will turn this stream around. I can guarantee you that. Okay, stream is fine. So let's just move on. Well, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. All right, so I got to find some shorts now. The market is absolutely puking down here. I can check back on Palantir. I think that's for 17.
It just got ugly.
Here we go. Yeah, the market is starting to break. We talked about the NASDAQ and everything like that, so just be very, very weary here. The market breaking down right now. We're in this Microsoft trade, but we were able to get something out, breaking back down through 319 here. I need to find some, refreshing helped. Okay, so thanks for that tease trade. If you do refresh the stream, hopefully that does help. We have some, I was gonna say we have some size at 90 there, at 319. That just got clocked, so forget about that size, guys. We're still positive today. I mean, it's been an okay day, but this Microsoft trade's starting to bleed a little bit here. And our friendly, Peter Thiel company over here, Palantir, which is, again, it's not even down that bad. I mean, 5% is bad, but we broke in through that. I mean, this is why you get out when you break key levels, right? And now you're back down here to 17. We could do a little bit of work with Palantir, but it is just broken. And I don't know if we're going to defend that 17 level or not. We'll check for size, but right now over to Brendo.
A couple of small cap, low float type names just popping up here. Here's one of them, IMMX. 20% on the day, guys, just making day highs there. On monster volume, it's worth saying. There was also that other one from the morning I was watching, that SENS trying to get to day lows on volume. But low float, 1 million on IMMX, remember.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if you're looking, it's been a theme like this. Like if you're looking for something that's at the top and trying to break out because you want to go long on something, you're going to probably have to go for the smaller caps, your lower float ones at least. So IMMX falls into that bucket. I mean, the last time we looked at it, like I haven't really traded it since a couple of days ago when took the beating when it took out that 820, but I was shorting it several times. And the last time it did fail at $8 and I didn't take it the next day. It's getting close to that. So I would caution, look, I'm trading that Affirm and kind of looking at some other names here, but it's at that $8 now, which I tend to think might be a resistance once again. I haven't paid for shorts, which I know you have to do, so I probably couldn't dip into it even if I wanted to, but I'm going to go and see if it's a reasonable price. Still an hour left to go. And that sends what you just mentioned. It's at that bottom, like that bottom at 283.84. This was recent support, like the last week. So if it breaks through that, I still have bids from the morning to capture the rest of this, down towards 275. So we'll see if it happens. But there's been a buyer down here that just kind of reloads. Basically, it'll break like 83, 84, 85, and then they just come back on the bid. So if it breaks this for good, it's probably headed down at least another 10, 15 cents.
317. I mean, I don't know. I was looking. Normally, I'd play it off that bottom wick there of Palantir, but no, I'm not going to do that. As the market just keeps on getting sicker and sicker here, we have to figure out a name to short. I mean, Lucid's down. What about Rivian? Did you have to pay for shorts on Rivian, Prad? Yeah, okay, so I don't have shorts. So Rivian off the 100 was a great trade this morning, man. Yeah, I mean, maybe I can zoom back out here. Look at this break of 100 to today. As soon as it broke it didn't really mess around. It breaks at about 816, and then right when the market opens up here, it's just like a tank all the way down. So Rivian today getting absolutely pummeled down that 10. What is Tesla doing here on a big move down? Ooh, God darn it. Down to 11 here on TSLA. So that's... Yeah, 1100. Yeah, well, 1110. But yeah, I mean, rate to the downside. The bottom of the day is 08 on this name. So, but I guess Microsoft and Tesla both down 3.5%. Let's check out what Apple. I'm trying to find one. I'm trying to find a name here because I feel like this move, and maybe Brendan, there's something that I actually want to throw to Brendan in a couple seconds because I was doing the trade of the day and he was coming back with some highlights here. I want to know what Brandon thinks, or maybe what the market is thinking here is the key point that was made in these Fed minutes, because honestly, they went up initially, and then it's just been like a pretty violent tank down.
You know what? There's a line
here. It didn't even stop at, go ahead.
There's one line here where they're like, supply chain bottlenecks expected to persist well into next year at least. I guess that's a bit more bearish on the overall market.
Didn't every company say that already?
CEOs have been saying that forever, but I don't know, Brendan?
The rate at which they're going to have to do this, I think, specifically, and here's Reuters kind of summing it up, nicely for us. Hike rates faster than expected, reduce a balance sheet quickly, and they're also talking, as you said, about some of the Omicron lingering effects and also some supply chain lingering effects. But I think it was just that note of they may have to increase the rate at which they're hiking rates even before full employment is achieved once again. So it's just faster increases, it seems.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, well, all right. So, yeah, faster rate increases in this environment. Yeah, NEPA, says stocks like UiPath.
By the way, I'm not a Arun.
Like, what is ARK down to?
But pull up a 60-minute on the futures here, and I'm kind of going back to, look at this level we're about to go into, this 15,880. I'm kind of looking for a reason why we might bounce at 80 on a firm to take it out. And if we don't break this, that's a pretty parabolic move down. I'm actually going to bank the profit on this short. I don't really have anything I love to the long side, but I just kind of feel like as much as that extended, you're now 2% down. There is the first level since we broke down that I think has a wick bottom of support on the NASDAQ. That'll be enough for me to take out the Affirm. And again, Affirm, this is still, it's still testing that $80 level and managing to hold it. It's not screaming through. There's not a lot of size there. I could always just punch short at 80 and give it a tight stop if I wanted to re-enter the trade. But this way, if it bounces, I got some options. So all I'm in is in sends now and looking for something. If this market rallies outside of punching the cues, and it could be like Apple, maybe that could be worth it to go long. I was watching Pfizer there a little bit because that's one I liked this morning. It's kind of riding VWAP here, bouncing back off VWAP. That could be one, $56 right at VWAP. But it doesn't have, it wasn't strong enough this morning. So I'm not sure if that's going to give you the run that you want. You almost want something that got sold off too much if you wanted to pick a bottom.
317. I'm still trying to find out what's going on with Apple here, or what's going on with Softy here. 317, that's the wrong stock, that's Apple. I was looking at this name and I was like, maybe 317 or so could be something that we would hit on to the downside just to try to find an area of sort of support here. It's just this rate down there. Basically 317. So I'm going to hold it till then, man. If we can get a 317 bid down here, then that's where we'll punch out. I mean, we'll just say this market is just continuing to fall down. I don't know if this NASDAQ has a 3% move in it today or not. So it doesn't seem like it wants to move 3%, but we'll see. It's trying to get a bottom now. We have no idea. I mean, there's still an hour and 20 minutes until this market closes. But this is a pretty aggressive move down. I feel like we will float back to 16,000. So, that's sort of, maybe I'm just looking at this again with rose-colored glasses, but I feel like we could start to get back up there on the NASDAQ. This move seems a little bit overextended considering the fact that we knew rate hikes were coming, but I definitely don't like what Brendan mentioned there, which is why we went over to Brendan, and thank you so much for that. But I don't like the fact that they may or may not increase interest rates based on some sort of randomness there. They were going to base it on employment, like Brendan said, and now they may or may not. That's not, the uncertainty there is not good. The market just would have preferred to hear, we are raising it 4 times or something like that, right? I mean, that would have created the same action, but at least would have given us some kind of guideline. Okay, so 318, we just averaged in there. Someone said, how do I have this average price? I think I've been doing a pretty decent job explaining to you what we're doing here. The reason why we have this price is because we were able to take some out right here. It's a losing stock for me. Just to let you know, so the amount of shares that I have, this has to go back up to 320 flat. If it goes back to 320 flat, we're flat on the trade. So that's sort of to give you an idea. We still need $1 higher to make up for this. So if it comes back up here into 320, obviously, then that should put us back into a flat spot. So I'll be taking it out a little bit on the way up here. Understand that we've lost on this and not take it for granted that this has come right back. Beyond Meat as well, man. That cracked the 52-week low through 60. And I don't even want to look at that chart. You want to talk about a name here, Neil, that would be disappointing to say the least today to everybody. Beyond Meat opened up monstrous today, up to 68. And everyone was like, this is fantastic. Finally, Beyond Meat, at least I was. I thought this was a good move for Beyond Meat. I'm not in the name, but look what it's done all day. This chart is nasty. You get a little bit of a bump and a movement around here, but this is the open. Look at since the open, man. Beyond Meat just absolutely saying a whole... I was going to say hold my meat. That might not go out too well. Hold my beer to the downside for Beyond Meat. We were up 10% today. Now you're down 3%. So this is like a 15% turnaround. I almost don't see a worse stock here. 15% turnaround. Beyond Meat today, yucky. And let's go softy.
He said hold my meat.
Yeah, I know. I should have said hold my meat.
So a couple of new positions. We're going to go to Brendan in a quick second here, but I found AMAT that I liked. Nowhere even close to this 155, well, 154 and a half bottom from yesterday, 155 holding up. And then Disney, thank you, David, in the chat for asking about Disney, because the first thing I looked at was look at the support at 155 and a half on Disney. And we pop right into it. Like, that's something to dig into. So I got 156s here. If we come back up, those are the two longs I have. Maybe there's something better than AMAT, but it started with an A. It was on my list, and I like it. So I kind of went over there and found a level. Brendan, what's up?
All right, guys, thanks. Yeah, we'll take a quick break here and bring in Justin to discuss some hot topics from the day. One of which was pretty interesting coming out of CES. We got the brand new, or soon to be brand new, I guess, Chevy Silverado, Justin. Some hefty goals, I guess, coming along with that from GM today.
So at CES, Chevy releasing or announcing the new Chevy Silverado EV and unveiling some of the details around this new vehicle. It looks like a banger. 400-mile range, 664 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. So if you ever feel like drag racing a Tesla, you might find a solid competitor in the new Silverado EV. 200,000 miles of compatible roads of this new technology they called Super Cruise, which is essentially hands-free assistance technology for compatible roads. $40,000 for the base work truck trim and $107,000 fully loaded. So you can reserve it now if you like those prices, but production doesn't start until Q2 of 2023. So you might have to wait a little while.
It's a great looking truck and a great looking price if that in fact ends up being where it comes out. But yeah, let's wait and see from Chevy and the Silverado. But 664 horsepower in a truck. So
I really think they're targeting, the work truck segment with this one. I mean, I don't know how I would feel about spending, that kind of money on a work truck. They are certainly competing with Ford. But Ford and GM kind of, they have their own crowds, right? One person who's loyal to that brand isn't going to switch to another one. So there's no winning new customers here. I think all they're doing right now is it's a land grab for who's got the best, EV work truck, or just EV truck at all for that matter.
And I like how they kept with some of the styling from previous versions of this vehicle, but kind of updated it accordingly, which Ford has done very well, also with the Lightning. So yeah, more to come, obviously, on both. Let's talk about Walmart here. We mentioned this morning. Their EV fleet set to expand, I guess.
Right. So we reported this morning that Walmart was going to be rolling out a number of vehicles, EV vehicles, into their fleet. We can now report that the company who's building those vehicles is BrightDrop, who's owned by GM. They are, in fact, Walmart is buying 5,000 of these vehicles, selling both of them the EV600, which carries up to 600 cubic feet of cargo space and can do 250 miles on a single charge, and the EV410, which carries 400 square feet of cargo space and can cover 250 miles on a single charge. So GM making lots of big news today, and one could safely say that their truck business is picking up. Yes, you got the pun. Excellent. Oh my God.
He spent his entire lunchtime coming up with that today.
I did. I'll show you something that I got for the holidays. Hold on a second.
Okay, yeah, go for it. We'll just wait. It's fine. Take your time.
So yeah. No, I'm back. So my partner, who is very familiar with the terrible puns that I throw out on the show, as well as in real life, got me a present for the holidays, and Let's see this: ain't no bad joke like a dad joke.
Nice. Love it.
So there you go.
Love it. So custom socks, always appreciated for Christmas. There you go. Case closed. Do we want to mention this Activision thing again? Because it's still kind of lingering in the background and will, it seems, for some time here.
Right. Yeah. So Activision launching a legal complaint against Engine Owning or Owning Engine. I can't remember what it's called. Engine Owning, and they are the kind of loose affiliation of individuals who have been creating cheats for Warzone, something that has been a thorn in the side of the company, and certainly the people who have been playing the game like me, who have been yelling at their computer screen for inordinate amounts of time. So this is kind of the start of it. Certainly a lot more to come with this story. It's going to be interesting to see now how this all rolls out against the backdrop of Ricochet, their anti-cheat software that they rolled out just before the holidays. So hopefully this will put an end to some of the nefarious behavior by certain individuals who believe that it is better to cheat and win than it is to win honestly. So.
Yeah, I don't understand that. If you're playing a video game, what is the point of cheating, I guess, at the end of the day? I mean, I don't obviously play these games, but it seems a little pointless. Anyways, I digress. Activision Blizzard not having a great day, along with the rest of the market at this point. He is Justin Kozach, Day Trade, the World Marketing Guy. Check him out on Twitter, at TraderTV. Justin, otherwise known as the King of Dad Jokes. We appreciate your time, as always. We'll speak again soon. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah, interesting angle there for Walmart, Bright Drop guys on those vans, and also a pretty good looking truck on that Chevy Silverado.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good looking truck. It's one of those, if they had not run yesterday, like imagine they were flat and didn't run like 7% on Ford's news, then you probably wouldn't have had what you had today. But it sort of is what it is, right? Like if the move already happened, you can't expect, even if you like it, that it wasn't going to drop a little bit. It's a hefty price tag, right? So, we'll see. Disney, which just before we went to Justin there, Disney, which I'd gotten into, I did get some out. And just 156.50 was a consolidation in the morning down here. So when it slowed down, trimmed a little bit, it then started to make a bit of a higher low. So I got back into it. So that feels a little bit better than what's going on in AMAT, because the market is starting to bounce here a little bit. They started to work in the money. I got it on the way up. It looked like it was gravitating back towards 156, and I can get some out. Then it slammed back down despite the fact that the market was holding up. So it feels like there's still a little bit of sell going on here. It's oddly enough, like when I go back to what was looking stupid weak yesterday, like a firm is bouncing better than AMAT, so go figure. Not sure what to make of that in this environment, but yeah, it's a little bit better of a bounce than something like an Affirm when I can't get a quality company like AMAT to get back up. But look, AMAT just bounced a little bit to go positive, but I was watching Apple a couple of seconds ago. That dropped $2.50. And the bounce right now is like 50 points, 50 cents, like 30 or 40 cents from the bottom off a drop like that. So if the market comes back here, some of these names I would expect to do a little bit better than the bounce they're making. We're just not getting too much traction yet off the lows. But keep in mind, the clock hasn't ticked to 3 o'clock yet. So it's 2:58. I mean, obviously, a lot of times you've seen the reaction be a little bit delayed. You make a bottom, and it might not be till 3:15, 3:20. So we put a reversal in. But you got to pick your spots, find some levels that you like if you're going to go into the long here. Sean's got Microsoft. I like AMAT and Disney because they were the ones I happened to find here. Oh, I see you got something new.
Yes, JP Morgan. So I finally said, let's see if these banks want to work. We're going to go long on this 25 break right now on JP Morgan. It battled it back. Let's see if this continues to go to the upside. I don't see anything really that should have affected the banks here. I mean, obviously, the market gets drawn down here. So instead of fighting with Microsoft, which we actually wound up doing pretty good, man. We got out. I mean, when we went to Justin, you guys saw me getting out, first of all, at 60s, and then we got out at 75s. I told you, if we got to 320, we were flat on the trade. So we were pretty close to that, right? And we almost got there. Obviously, now it's dipping back down. So Microsoft trade not very profitable right now. But we'll have to wait to see. I want to hold that one for a bit. I don't even want to look at it until we get a little bit lower. But I am not going to look, said gift horse in the mouth, take 7 pennies right now on 5% of the trade there on JP Morgan. Hopefully this can go back up to the upside here. And then looking at a target into this area here, 165.80 or so, just down to this dropping off spot there. We did take a piece out. Here it comes. Yes, let's go. JP Morgan now back up to the upside. Again, I'll take a piece out in the 40s if we can get that, but it looks like it's trying to work now. Back up to the upside. JP Morgan, we went into the bank, something that we know is a strong thing here. So let's take that play. And there it is again. Yes, sir. So we're on one right now with JP Morgan. Let's just see if it continues to work to the upside here. Yeah, actually, like I said, we're positive today and everything is fine, but we have bled some money away on some of these calls. I think this is not a good opportunity to go in and pick up some weakness today. Let this market settle down and let's revisit this tomorrow.
Yeah, we might still be falling, right? Like it's a thing. Like we might still be going down. I'm looking for things that I like. And the thing with Kyle, it's like, why not, like, why try to pick bottoms? It's more about structuring day trades. So if I can find levels I like for risk to reward, I'm not seeing anything I love to get back into the short side. Like I look at NBAX, which is getting destroyed today. It's just tough. I mean, like, look, you're sitting here at 122, barcoding off of the bottom. I don't see, like, where's my risk to reward if you try to short this when you got lows down here, maybe on the daily chart that are for support, and it's already beaten up so badly? It's not an easy thing to do because you have an hour left in the day and you're looking for what will give you that trade. So if I'm going to put some of what I'm left up today to work, I'm trying to find those bottoms. Like the Affirm short was good, but even that is still, like, even if I was still in this, like it bounced off 80. Like what can I say? Like I wouldn't be, you know, like here it is in the 1 minute chart. Like it bounced off that 180. You could still be riding that train and maybe I should be shorting these pops. And that could be the other play. Like this actually gave a bounce. I'm like, why is it still up here? I guess I could have rolled into it at 81 and maybe that should be the thing to do. But, you know, maybe we break this bottom on Disney and I got to get out. I'm just looking for some names that'll give you that risk to reward. As the market might crack that low of the day, I'm kind of talking myself to getting back into Affirm, to be honest with you here, because that's off the lows. If 80 breaks, I like an 80 break on Affirm when we look at that chart, the long term, because there's still room below there. But for everything else, I can't find something shorting the bottom that I love.
Oh, man. Yeah, so this is going to be just a fun afternoon here as we go. We thought we got a decent trade there for you on JP Morgan. We took some out at 43. It is coming back in here on the banks, but you can see the NASDAQ there just failed. It tried to go upside, and then now it just takes out new lows on the NQs. So, yep. You know, not looking very promising today for a lot of these names. So we'll stick with the banks. We have to find something to short like right now. What about Square? Square's been getting, yeah, I said this was chopped literally in half on a daily chart here. Look at Square, like this is just getting pummeled here. Ever since, I don't want to say ever since Jack Dorsey went over there, but the market obviously getting beat down. Square, wow. Like right back to, like, you're talking about summertime prices here, like just giving, actually what summertime of 2020 back here for Square. So wow. Some of these names, when you look at these, it's just like, this is getting bad here. So Square to the downside, another name. PayPal probably, obviously, I mean, I was going to say it probably doesn't hold 190. No, it doesn't. It goes to 188 and change. So this is another name that just continues to get beat down here today with PayPal. But actually not holding up pretty good, only down 1.3. So I kind of take back all that negativity. This might be a name if you're trying to go long, or you know, a name that really hasn't started to tank yet. PayPal. So this name is all the way to the downside. Wow. Now, remember I said the NASDAQ I don't think is going to go down 3% today? Well, yeah, it's down 2.5 right now and not looking very healthy. So maybe that's going to be the wrong call, but here we go. The NASDAQ continues the downside. We did average in right now to Microsoft. We're giving it down to 317. So I'm not going to put on anything too big right now, but that's the average price, 319.20. And it hasn't really hurt us, but again, we're trying to see if we can get a rally here in the NASDAQ. It doesn't really look like that wants to happen. Tesla, guys, Neil, it's at that 1100. So Tesla right now bouncing clean off. Actually, the low of the day is 11. Look at the low of the day.
Here comes the firm 80 right now.
Okay, so we'll go over to Neil, but look at the low of the day on Tesla, 11,001. 1 penny off of 1100 today. So if you played that long,
worth it.
If you played that long into 1100, you didn't get stopped out, but you almost did. So 11,001 there on Tesla. This might be a decent shot here.
Yeah, I mean, I've covered, it looks like AMAT just doesn't want to go. It's testing long. I'm going to hold on to the Disney long because I feel like it's just a safer type of play instead of being in a tech name. But that still might not work. But Affirm's right on that 80. Oh, I didn't even get it. I didn't cross far enough. I crossed to 90, crossed to 79.90, which didn't get the job done there. And I don't usually like getting it on the way up, but this might still be something that's worth it. I'll put something in the mid-80s if I can catch it, 85, 86. And then if it pops back up here, maybe I can get something a little bit closer to that 80 price. But yeah, there goes a firm through that bottom. I did try to just get it. I did miss. Sometimes you just have to be more aggressive with your limit order. This time you had to be more aggressive with your limit order, 100% there. So it happens. Crossing 10 cents on a firm at a level like that when it's traveled $5 down, probably not going to get the job done there. So unfortunately, the one thing that looked like a good short at the bottom, and I'm not going to have it, is a firm cracks $80. And yeah, like this is what it looks like on the daily. If you look at that 80 level, again, there's just not a heck of a lot till you get to 75. So I'm willing to leave this in here. Maybe I shouldn't be chasing it too far, but I might have to chase it at least a little bit here because this momentum is now it's at like 79.40. Like, give me a break. There it goes. Like the one thing I wanted to short, and here it goes.
Down or up?
Down.
Down, of course. Okay, good. But you're not short?
I didn't get it. I crossed.
Oh, you didn't get it.
I crossed 10 cents on a firm, which is stupid. You gotta try to be more.
10 cents. Yeah, you got to go, especially on a day like today. But that's what we're talking about with slippage here, guys. And you want to talk about slippage? See a Bitcoin. These coins, man, this asset class been getting beat down as well. My chart's not even going to load here, but waiting for a 1 minute chart here on Bitcoin to load up. Here it goes. You can see. Again, I think I think we must still be having some kind of internet problems here. Maybe we're not, but I'll try to refresh this and we'll talk this when it loads. But right now, crypto to the downside, you can see here. We'll go over to the Ethereum or the Bitcoin Trust just to have a quick look here before you can see. Look at this, straight to the downside. So GBTC getting hit for 4% today. And you can look here at Bitcoin. Basically the same moves downside, 4 or 5%. Yeah, it still doesn't look like it wants to. There it goes. So there it goes. Just touched 44K on Bitcoin to the dollar, to the penny down there. So 44,000. This is a Coinbase Pro chart. So 44,000 banked right there, the very bottom. So yeah, getting hit here is BTC, guys, to the downside. And Ethereum as well, just to check that, 36.8 right now. So yeah, that's down to 3,600. So yeah, a lot of these plays getting hit. Ethereum maybe even more than Bitcoin.
You know what we always talk about? Find some relative strength. So thank you, Goldman, as usual, for popping in and talking about carbon, the ETF. And yeah, like sometimes it's all about being environmentally friendly, but like this, it's been on a tremendous run. I know we've pointed, why can't I drag this chart? Anyways, it doesn't really matter. We've talked about this name, and mostly because you've been bringing it up, Goldman, but yes, it is coming off a little bit, but you want something that's holding up. The market's just continuing to tank here. Thankfully, Disney is close to flat. Like it's holding up nicely. AMAT broke the low, so I did have to cover that one, and I'm still trying to get a firm, but here's something which is holding up pretty nicely as well, which has been on a bit of a tear. So you have a strong stock on the chart, you have something giving you a bit of a pullback. I don't know that it's a trading vessel. It doesn't do a ton of volume. You're not going to see in much of it. If I pull up the minute chart here, or even the level 2, which I don't have, like it's very sporadic, right? So this is not maybe a day trading stock. Certainly something to consider in the long term because it has been a good runner here. I still want this a firm at some point, but there's a limit to how far I'm gonna chase that short off of 80. I'm still sitting here in front, like maybe a 75 that pulls back, but it went pretty much straight to 79 even. So like that would, like I said, like it would have been a good short. I'm going to try to get back into it. But if I'm going to be looking to get out, like 80.5 or something, you don't want to chase it too far here. Like it's down pretty heavily and the market's still falling. It's not as if, the NASDAQ is recovering or anything. Like we've now broken down through some support there at 15.8. 880 or so, and you're heading down to 15.8, where I guess there was a breakout going back to the 21st. So market's still looking weak. Even Disney now looking like it could crack the bottom. So neither one of those longs that I decided to pick up looking very good at all. Disney about to take out this low. If it takes out the low, I'll walk away from it. Looks like that's going to be very likely. Brendo.
A few inverse ETFs popping up as the market continues to fall. If you're looking on the long side only, this is one for the financial sector. FAZ here just made day high on a volume spike up 2.5% now. I'll flip over to this one as well because it's, there we go. The SARK, so the short everything ARK owns ETF, up 7% today, guys, making day highs as we speak as well.
I was looking at the end. It's actually pretty well done, whoever made up that, because you can see that was 7%. And if we switch over here to ARC, it's 7% the other way, right? So yeah, well done, whoever is S-ARCing up that one, because that's a good one. Mirrored it almost exactly. So you don't see that often. That's a good one there. But wow, guys, like there goes the Qs, man, down 2.7 right now. I was actually looking at Disney. I mean, the reason why I'm kind of like just chilled out here and not really too worried about any of these positions, we still are, we still are ready to rock and roll here if anything were to happen, but we still do have our main play here, which is going to be Microsoft. So we just took another bid there on Softy. We'll see where we go from here, but I still don't mind this. We just took a 318 bid. We talked about some of the positions that we liked here on Mr. Softy, so we'll see if they do come in here. Hopefully they do, but for right now, Microsoft's still trying to make some moves at the downside. So still not a great trade here, but we are holding out hope for Microsoft off of 318. And that might sound a little bit, or sorry, 317. So our last play was off of 318, but we're still waiting to see what happens here to the downside of Microsoft. Trying, man, we're trying to see if this wants to come back up to the upside. But for right now, doesn't look like it, but there's another bid there on Microsoft. We actually have a 318.05 bid. Average price right now, 87. So look, we're getting more shares. So obviously, as this continues to move, we are, adding to our net here on the downside because we're adding more shares this position. But we've perfectly, again, we always talk about trading your plan. We have that 317, and I just don't believe that's going to come into play today. So we'll watch out for that. And if we get knocked out at that price, and that's where we get knocked out, but I just don't see that happening. So we're going to wait to this go to the upside. Microsoft, I'm going to die on this sword today. It is what it is right now for me. JP Morgan as well, trying to make moves, but hey, there's a big move to the downside. We may dump this one. The banks may, for some reason, getting sold off here. So not a good trade here for JP Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like Stephen on here, Stephen Howard talking about GFS. Like, if you want to talk about something which was actually really strong, it went from the highs of the day, breaking through 66, and I was like, why is this stock still going up when it wouldn't run earlier in the day, but now then it went after. This broke 63 and it cratered to 62 even. I just got into a firm. I ended up chasing it. My price is now 60, so it's probably like 25 cents too far away. And if I look at GFS, like this is a level that just took out that 63, maybe heading down to 62 even. You just look for like that kind of bleeding here, right? Like it's just getting punished, and a lot of the market is ultimately. I'm going to start taking more. This 80 level holds a second time on a firm. I'm probably just going to low back into it. I got it at Disney, and only to see it just basically come back. It should be on the 1 minute for you guys. Yeah, comes right back. So I stop out when it hits that fresh low. Pre-market low was lower than this, but I just wanted to get out of it and just work into something else and try to find a short. And then it's going to bounce back up. So it looks like Disney scalped a little bit out for a winner, reloaded, and then lost on that. So it's not going to be a winning trade by any stretch of the imagination. That sends, ridiculous. Like it keeps holding. Someone's buying that thing at 83, 84, 85, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not on the level 2. Like you won't see size in the level 2 of this thing if I were to pull it up, and I went the wrong way there. If I were to pull up the amount that someone is buying at this 83, it's just been sitting here and it's done 27 million shares, and there's not there's not a ton of size at 83 or 84. It just, for whatever reason, just keeps reloading at these prices, so it can't seem to fall through. So take that for what it's worth. I'm going to start covering and getting out of it. We have 50 minutes or less than that to go.
I didn't even notice the time. We have to be
flat at the end of the day. So here we are. This one's obviously not going to go for me. If it breaks 85, I probably just get out and then start thinking about if it holds 85 tomorrow, it's probably a long off this as long as this buyer is here.
Oh boy, I didn't even notice the time, man. So, wow, we've just took some more JP Morgan here. If it takes out this bottom of 50, then we're going to get out of this name and then just be like, okay, it didn't work. So, but we will scalp it out a little bit if it comes back to the upside. Obviously, we've already taken, I don't know, this was what 26 is, our best out 44s there. So about 18 or so cents on the best piece. That's a dime, and then 18 cents. So right now we are out on this JP Morgan trade, 31 cents. So not good for us right now, but we're holding out hope that this can come back to the upside. And then talk about holding out hope. We are now actually in the money as the market starts timber. But, we're buying the bottoms. We've been holding out for this softie. The NASDAQ is starting to come back a little bit here, as you can see. So there goes Microsoft back into the money now, 17 cents. But hard to celebrate it when we need it to go all the way back up to about 3. Oh, wait a minute. Now we don't need it that far, actually. We're almost positive on the name. I think a 319.50 or so mark right around here will put us green on Microsoft today, which is crazy because, again, this is what happens, man. You got to scalp out. Sometimes diamond hands is not the right thing to do because, if the market continues to fall down, then your diamond hands looks a little bit silly. But sometimes you got to have some paper hands here and get out when you see a little bit of a bump. So right now we're seeing a bump. Obviously, the NASDAQ was down 2.8. Now we're making a little bit of a move back, but we are struggling here at 319. So maybe another spot to get out here, put the quarter in our pocket, and just see where we go. But right now, this is starting to go. JP Morgan coming back down into the downside. So as the NASDAQ rebalances a little bit back up to the upside, you could see the banks still getting hit. So we went over where there was strength. Doesn't seem to be paying off right now.
Yeah, I just noticed we got back above like 176 here on Apple. I'm going to give, I just missed a reload on Affirm at 81 when it got to that level. If it holds 81, I'm going to get back in one last time. Well, add one last time. But back above this initial bottom that got put in post-Fed on Apple, and then it craters through when the most panic came in. It then's going to hold this level one more time, and I'm going to go long off of it. So I guess I'll go for Apple. I probably could have stuck with Disney, but this one looks like it's at a level I can sort of dig into. If it's going to bounce, fair enough. I feel comfortable if I'm going to go long something and still be trying to short a firm. Go Apple here, and maybe both can work out. We'll see what happens there. Brendan.
Yeah, another big tech name with a big bounce. Meta, guys, just popping up on volume, in fact, off of 325. We got down to 325. Big buyers stepped up. So Meta, as well as along with Apple, trying to bounce.
Oh, man, why are these banks getting killed so badly right here? I don't know. Neil, I can't figure that one out.
I'm not sure.
As it's still making moves to the downside here. But, okay, we tried it, and it looks like this is going to be a fail. I thought I had a 50 bid out, but I didn't. So we missed that 50. Now you're up to 56, so a little bit lucky there. If we take out whatever that bottom was, now 44 or so, we'll get out. But it doesn't look like it wants to work out for us here. So, unfortunately, the bank's not working whatsoever. Just wish I would have stayed out of this name because then I'd be fine right now. But this is the one that's hurting here as this, maybe take advantage of this little move up and take out a little bit here if we can. There it is. So we'll take out a little bit now. It just made that bottom. That reload probably not right. So we'll see. Take out a little piece there. But if we break back down below 40, we're going to get out of this one. The bag name's not working out. But again, it's funny because I'm going to wind up losing more on JP Morgan and I just entered this trade than I am on Microsoft because Microsoft at least gave me some bounce opportunities here, including right now as it goes back up to the upside. So I like this. Let's see where we go on this name. But for right now, Microsoft back up to the upside here. So good on us for that one. And right now, taking some more out on JP Morgan. I don't know if the banks are going to work. I don't mind holding half, but let's take advantage of this bump back up.
Yeah, I want Apple to go here too. It's weird. You keep getting calls from you said like hospitals and stuff.
Yeah.
I keep getting calls from like our school, like my daughter's school. I'm like, she's not even at school right now. Why am I getting phone calls from them? But it doesn't really matter. Apple, I'm gonna look to get like 176, like 50 or so, like that last hump that you see here. That's where I'm gonna start taking profit out. It's getting pretty close to that. And then I'm going to start also getting out in the bid. Like I tried to get more shares of Affirm at about 80.75, and then try to scalp it down to like that 80, and then maybe cover some if it retakes that 80 low, because the market is still trying. There's a NASDAQ. The market's still trying to hold the NASDAQ, trying to hold those bottoms. So if I'm thinking something like an Apple can pop, if I'm playing both directions here, I think Affirm is the right type of a name to dig into. Although, as I look back at it, because of what was happening in Bitcoin, the play might have been, I keep saying square, the play might have been something like a block, which is looking really weak. Like actually, if you look at it here in the 1 minute, its bounce is still pretty muted here, holding off of those lows. Like that might have been the jam to try to short. I'll kind of ring the register on Apple, but keep in mind, if we aggressively bounce in the market, I'm just going to lose on the Affirm short and then throw away what we made on that first one. But playing both ends of the coin here, we'll see how it ends up working out. Market trying to make up its mind here. Apple seems safe, but it goes in the money and gives me a bit of a scalp win, and then it comes right back down. I probably should have been looking at, like, look at what Square did off the FOMC. It was at 150. It popped to $150 even right at the inflection point and gives you like a $7 move down. That was probably a better name thinking about the move also in crypto to the downside, try to find something that would have given the best of both worlds. So lesson learned. I mean, we miss opportunities all the time. That was definitely one. Affirm was a good trade initially, but Square would have been much better.
Yeah, Square, Affirm, all these crazy stocks today, man. Like I'm just kind of like, wow, what a big movement a lot of these names have had today. So we'll just wait to see where we go from here. But tomorrow's going to be super, super interesting. You know, we just continue to bleed a little bit here. We've taken more out on JP Morgan to the upside here, but we should be short something. And it's pretty crazy that we're not. SQQ to the upside. Spiders continue to fall a little bit. Let's take a look at Rivian. Maybe that's finally starting to bounce as well here. No. 89s, I guess, were the bottom. Rivian down 11. What is Lucid down today right now, actually, as well? Okay, Lucid seems to be holding up. I don't remember this 30. Yeah, okay, 8%. I was going to say 36 doesn't seem so bad for Lucid here. Wow, okay. This is exciting here. Look at Lucid right now. We are right at this level. This is like, if I was, you know, if I knew more about this, and maybe we'll talk to Randy about this or so, but like this is nice barcoding. This is a good opportunity maybe for a swing trade. If you believe that tomorrow, what time is it, 3:20? If you believe that tomorrow there's a chance to little rally here in the market, like honestly, this Lucid could just close this gap and at least get back to 38, 39 here, I think, tomorrow. So maybe that's something to look at as we go. So watch out here for Lucid. This could be a decent swing play, especially if we close around these levels. You could pick this up and then get a little bit of a bounce back upside. I don't know, and I don't know if there's any negative news coming from Lucid, but you know, taking it long down here might not be horrible for a call there. So Lucid, yeah, starting to work a little bit there on the downside. This might be something. There's no love today. I mean, it's straight to the downside, but you get a 36 and change. We can't hold overnight, but this, from what I've seen on a chart, this isn't a horrible opportunity here for LCID.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the thing. Like, you can look for some places, if you think things are going to calm down, that you find some support level. Speaking of which, that Sens broke the low. I'm just going to mention that to you. I basically have almost nothing left of it anyways, but I was looking at that. If it had held tomorrow, it could have been a buy point. I did say that. It did break, so I wanted to make sure you guys knew that. Apple, because of course, right, like I just start getting some... hilarious, right? Like I just started taking some profit out of the firm, shorting it on the way back up, and then had to try something to the long side. So playing both ends of the coin, this is what's going to happen to you. As I start to take profit on Apple, a firm starts dropping, market starts dropping, and Apple starts coming back down. So at some point, I just might start giving up on the longs. I should have just stuck with, roll over into the shorts. Didn't work out. Muted success on Disney, make then lose. Only lost on AMAT. Well, I made a little bit on AMAT, then lost. And then an Apple here, going to make some and then lose some. So it just, the shorts are obviously a little bit better here. And it is what it is, right? Like you got to play the momentum. And I try to play both ends of this coin as the futures just decide that we're only going one way. Like this is what is a 60-minute that I pull up here. So I'll pull it back a little bit further so you can see like what's basically going on. And there's not a ton of support down here. We're at a key level of 15.8, I do think. And we'll see what happens with the imbalances. I think it goes without saying on a Fed day with moves like this, the NASDAQ pushing 3% down, you might see a few imbalances here or there. Just throwing that one out there. Again, I would expect to maybe see them in the EV space, but we didn't get them yesterday. Like there wasn't crazy imbalances in GM and Ford. So maybe I shouldn't expect that today, really.
No, be positive. Yeah, you should expect that for sure. Let's see if we can get some imbalances, and yeah, then we'll be laughing all the way to the bank if they're buy imbalances for your boy. But for right now, we have a new position alert. Ford, we just took it right here at 78, so we'll see what happens. Does it show 78 or 79? I don't know, but I have 78.5. I just punched long and hit a dark pool. So we are now long 78.5 here on F. So let's see if it gets going. First target is going to be right here, 90s, which is not big, man. If we could take this just a little bit, then we'll try to hold back up to view up like 24.30. The reason why we're having small target, well, here first of all, I'm going to get more shares right now. Small target. I don't want to hold this one too far back in, man. Look, we tried to short Ford there. Remember when we tried to short GM? Like short, got blown out when she started to present, and then now all the way to the downside. So again, what I thought, and I wrote down on the sticky note today, guys, and you, I just wish I would have followed my own rules here. We talked about it here. Look at this. Feels like, this was written at 8 o'clock, earlier than 8 o'clock. Feels like more pain today in the NQ. Look to short. So we said short DraftKings, short GM, right? All these names, we had them all here. We thought Beyond Meat might go, but obviously it doesn't hit 70, so no problem there. Nikola, a runner? Yeah, running to the gates right now. And then Palantir, more deals. And I said to Brendan, more deals for Palantir means how low will it go? But obviously today it's getting faded. But check out that sticky note, guys. We had it all on there, man. Fade all of these names. Short 66, like it went to 66.50, and now you're down to 63. So you got to have a little more onions on some of these holds to go there. And then Ford, an average in right now. We will put on a big position. If it ever comes back down to 50, like it tried again, we're loading this thing up 23.60 or so right here for Ford. I mean, I like the name. I don't know if there's a stronger name in the market than Ford. I mean, obviously there is, but Ford's been huge the last couple of days. Let's see if this 23.50, what am I talking about, down here holds off of the bounce today early. So we already meant down to 23.50, tested it, and bounced. So I dare you, Ford, to go down there again. And by dare you, I mean don't go too fast. Let's see if we can get a bid first down here around 50, 55, something like maybe even 60 to start it. But let's try to load up some more Ford here as it's heading down to the downside.
Don't dare stocks. You know what happens.
I know. I shouldn't issue challenges to these.
So someone in the chat asked about Danaher, which that's great. I mean, I talk about the stock because I'm interested in it, and I'm sure like almost no one ever is. Like there's other healthcare names which people are more familiar with. It's weird. Like I trade buyouts on the side, and one of their specialties is actually purchasing other companies. And look, it's down. I said yesterday that this was down pretty heavily, and it was going to be a buying opportunity for it. I still like it a little bit more in the 95 range where I had last added to it. So I'm going to be a little bit more patient here. But it's right on some support levels at 305. So in days like today, when you're pulling out the shopping list or looking for things that are moving, you want to see if it can hold support. The fact that it looks like it wants to hold these bottoms, that can be a good sign. It gives it the juice, maybe, that if we get a reversal here, it can crack 310, 311. I will caution, though. Yes, Danaher is a good company. I think it's a great company, and they're in a good sector. They do have a relatively high valuation. Like they're kind of a growth type of name that's not going to give you like a really stable, fantastic high dividend rate or anything like that. It is more of a growth play. So that's why it's going to be under pressure today. And it'll probably be under a little bit more pressure than your average healthcare name that you're used to. So I like them. I'm waiting for a little bit further down before I add to it. I just think that, sometimes you got to be a little bit more patient and know what it is that you're getting into. Speaking of which, looks like the market is still trying to get its legs under it, which means Apple, which I'm not giving up on just yet, trying to go. Like I was kind of thinking about it. Do I add to it? Decided not to, but I decided to hold. If we can get past this 176.70, maybe some buy imbalances come out here. I'd love to be able to hold this on a rally into the close. I'll give a firm back to 80.50. I mean, I averaged it on the way up, so my average price was probably closer to 80 on the total. You'll see 80.43 because that was my last ad. But if the market gets going, I'd love to be able to hold Apple. Sort of maybe not to 4 o'clock, but certainly to like 3.50 if we get some buy imbalances. So hopefully we can catch some kind of bottom. Getting back through 15.9 on the NASDAQ would be a pretty good start.
All right, shout out to Jake. Good job, man. He just said, too bad we don't trade puts or options, I guess, obviously. If only you could trade options, he says puts, but I just covered his whole month on SPY, so great job, man. I mean, take some balls or some gumption to definitely put on a decent trade there in the SPY off that number. So great job, man. And thanks for sharing. And obviously, great work on that. Microsoft trying to go as well. Ford, okay, we're reloaded. Where's that reloaded key here? I'm not super excited right now, as you can tell, because some of these names just are not cooperating. Like we had JP. I mean, where's my price on this? I mean, our average price now is 67, but we did get that bid down here. We waited a little bit more patience here and took a 60 bid, like we said. So actually, a 61, I believe, was the fill, giving me the average price now. Yeah, it was 61. So giving me the average price of 67. So we're flat on the Ford trade. Hopefully that will work. JP Morgan, man, good thing we got out. So the damage isn't as much now, but we are reloading it down here. It came right back. I said that. When it came back, we're taking off some pressure here. So there it comes. Now we're reloaded down here, and you can see the average price now. Still 83, not good. Still down 30 cents here on JP Morgan. It's looking to take out the bottoms. If we do take those bottoms out, pretty easy, man. That's where we're getting out. So we'll wait to see what JP Morgan does. Ford, we already have the play on. We're actually going to take some more shares if it does get a little bit lower, like near 50, almost near this wick. And then we'll just play off the 50 break. The bottom of the day here is 23.47 on Ford. That happened real early, man. 10 o'clock. So if that trade comes back in, then that's something that we're going to look at to get out. But we'll try Ford back to the upside here. We just need a little rally, man. I mean, the S&P 500, I can change this real quick. ES. There we go. Yeah, that's it. It's that easy. It should be, right? We'll see if this is trying to battle back right now. So you can see the ES still down low. I'm going to keep it on the ES for now. Although we're in Microsoft, that's just going to flow. I want to see what this market does, because if we start to crash on the ES, that'll be more directed towards Ford. So we'll see. 4,700 has to hold.
Yeah, I see people throwing symbols out there. I'll call one up. Like someone says, like Oracle at the 200 period. You know, I'm going to pique my interest, right? Like it's crazy, but Oracle is now down a full $20 from the high that it recently made. So we sort of talk about the whole notion of pay yourself and take profit on the way up. And a lot of times it'll never look that fantastic when you do. Like if you sell something, you'll never look great selling Oracle at like 95, 96 when it makes the breakout and goes to 106. But at the end of the day, if you're going to take profit on the way up, you got to take it somewhere. And you're almost never going to get the actual high. But it gives you these other ways to have dry powder, but it gives you the room to be able to add back in. And now if we hold this bottom, this is a name that I kind of like to maybe get some more shares into, but maybe you don't do that if you don't take anything out. So yeah, you got to start looking for some opportunities like this. Affirm is at the low again, so it's at that 79 level. I'm watching Apple like a hawk as well, but I'm going to show you this chart because the truth of the matter is you get a bank, not Oracle. If you get a bank error in your favor, and what I mean is I was short Cassava Sciences because of the 55 level. Because Cassava Sciences looks like this on the daily chart, and I like to short pops in this stock. And it was because of the double top that I shorted it. And then you had the reversal in the market on the Fed, which helps the short trade. You just cancel bids and hold. That's a fluke. That just happened to go my way. Like if the market moved up and the NASDAQ was ripping after the Fed, I would have lost on this trade and it goes the other direction. But it was in my favor, so I should have taken advantage of that by canceling bids and just letting it fall and then just riding the wave. I didn't do that. That's a lesson learned here. Brendan?
A few mentioning AMC here. It looks like a bit of a big guy's at 22.50. It would appear someone taking some shares here. So we're trying to hold this 22.50 right now. There's a bit of a buyer on the bid, but 11.5% to be expected. Obviously for AMC, GME looks about the same as well on the way to the downside, guys.
Yeah, it does. I don't see too much size of that 22.50 bid, but hey, there doesn't have to be like a 1 million share order or 100,000 share order sitting on a bid. I mean, like we've been around, Sean and I have been around long enough where that used to happen a heck of a lot more often, where if there was a buyer at a level, you look at the level 2 and it's like, yeah, they're there. Like 2008 was a perfect example of that. When the big serious buyers came in, you didn't have to guess whether someone was holding a level. Yeah. You would just see 1 million shares on the bid, and it was the easiest time to trade at times. Yep. But like on AMC, like you could just have a refresher. There could be some dark pools. Like there's so many things that could be going on at that 22.50. But it is worth noting. That's why I mentioned that in Sens it finally broke that level. But you are seeing someone try to hold up here. It's also SSR, by the way. Like it's short sell restricted, which makes it tricky for breaking some of these because you need an uptick to hit the bid. But AMC is so liquid that a lot of times that's not too big of an issue. If we don't break the low, and the market's trying to bounce here, if we don't break the low in the next few minutes, I am going to have to cover this Affirm. I got pretty stubborn with it, rolling into the short and then roll back out of it into 79. And I shouldn't, like I said, I shouldn't chase it at 79.50. I still ended up with about the same average price, but it doesn't mean it's the right way to go about it, so I'm not happy with myself over it. If we can break this low, I think we can start to still flush. That'll probably mean the Apple long's not going to work out too well. But at this point, you try to pick something to the long side that you feel can hold up and won't capitulate, right? Like even if the market breaks through a fresh low, Apple is pretty unlikely to drop too fast that it gets out of hand, whereas if the low gets taken out on Affirm and the market keeps going down into the last 30 minutes of the day, well, that could capitulate, so you'd rather hold that short.
We did get out of JP Morgan. Obviously, it takes out that 50 level, and then we're gone. So there it is, JP Morgan down in the dumpster. So we'll go. This is a down air. No, bubble burst.
Bubble
maybe.
burst?
Maybe the bubble bursts here on tech and on financials today. So we'll see. I don't know what. That's a good one, though. I like that graphic. Pretty cool. But here we go. Moving to the downside. So that's that. I was liking Disney break long, but again, there's no love for this. I was hoping that we'd be trading up here, and therefore when the market did pop, we'd be able to get this 156.49. But right now, the market continues to go bang to the downside, and no real reprieve right now. But hey, it doesn't mean it won't happen. So we still got now. There's 15 minutes until the imbalances come out. You know what's still strong today, guys? This is why you got to be diversified, and I think we do a good job of explaining that here on the show. Look at XOM, still an up day for them, and trying to battle. So, if you're holding all tech, all financials, something like that, get some money into oil. I mean, these stocks starting to move to the upside. XLE, we talked. I mean, how long? We've been talking about this over and over and over again. My tip yesterday when we talked about it was be diversified. You don't need to be in all tech, right? Be diversified. Therefore, when this happens to the market, you do have some love. Like oil, flat on the day. So, I mean, there you go. If you were in oil names today, you wouldn't be so bad. But I think, again, like 10 to 15%, maybe of your positions. Look, I'm a hell of a lot long into big cap tech. So I'm not overly diversified, but I do hold over 30 names. So
look at Nucor. Nucor is up 5%.
Yep, that's another one.
U.S. Steel will be up 2.5%. I'll go Freeport. Again, I didn't rehearse this. I just know these names are going to all be up today. Actually interesting because Freeport dumped.
But still, that 1% is completely fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be...
That did dump. FCX did dump here on the Fed there.
Yeah, you guys, the ES is only down 1.5, so I think we got to sort of slow down, understand that these markets are going to do this. I know Pratt gets upset when the Bitcoin goes down like $500, but Bitcoin could go down, guys, huge. So the fact that it's down to 44,000 right now, we'll see if that can hit 40. Flat, then maybe you start to panic.
It's just, you obviously weren't in it a few years ago. It's like...
Guys, the bull today, what? When we come back from Brendan, this may be a different character. I'm just letting you know that right now. Let's go over to Brendan, and we're going to see what the bull turns into when we get back.
It's been a while since the bear made an appearance on this show, but we'll see what happens here. Rivian, guys, we were talking about. This looks oddly similar right now to AMC, down about as much. Trying to hold 90 on the bid right now. There's a bit of a buyer at 90. If you missed it again, Amazon announcing this morning Stellantis over in Europe going to make them a bunch of electric vans, but they still have this 100,000 order for Rivian, or set to go for Rivian from Amazon. But we're very close. 88.40, in fact, is all-time lows for Rivian.
And here I thought it was going to turn into a porcupine. I was dead wrong about that.
Here it is. He's just sitting in between us. There he is. Hey, what's up? What's up, my bear man here? We need to get names for these characters. Maybe we can have a poll or something on our chat for that. But guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe.
I swear we named it like months ago, and then we forgot the name.
I mean, it could be Brendan the bear, but that's just because these are together. But Brendan's not. I mean, Brendan does prefer to short, as I think he'd admit that. So we'll see. Okay, we are reloaded now on Ford. So there's that bid that we finally wanted, man. We're going to see. This could make us look foolish again. We tried the short up there, got stopped out. Now we're willing to hold this off that low. We got a good price, man. We're in the money on Ford. It's at $23.59 right now. If you scroll back, you could see how good Ford's been the last couple of days. But look where we are. If this is not a line in the sand right now, then I don't know what is. So we're going to see if this can go through here. Let's do this. Maybe Ford will move now. Doubt it. But there it is, right into these levels. And part of the show, guys, educate. So if you're waiting to be patient on names on a day like today, you got to wait to get your money in when these levels come through. So here we go right now, Ford. We're in the money nicely, actually, here. By nicely, I mean 4 pennies. Hopefully it can continue to go to the upside here for Ford. And guess what's back, baby? Let's go. Santa Claus, the rally is over. Santa Claus will be back next year. But let's go Softy. Right now, Softy going to the upside. We'll see if it can take it out. We've been averaging in like crazy to Microsoft, but we're not even negative on the name. So let's see if Microsoft gets back to $319.50. Come on, Softy, you can do it. And you can also do it, Ford. Ford back up to the upside. We're like 3 times our positions. Let's go, Neil. You got to win it.
Time to backflip. I mean, look, I just covered a firm for profit, but I think it's time to hold along. So Apple could potentially break out of this consolidation. If it does, I'm actually looking to add to Apple on this consolidation break, just thinking we might have it here. Now, obviously, as I add to the position thinking we could go higher, I do have in mind that imbalances are coming out in 10 minutes or so. So I think it could be worth it to take some out. If it runs up before 177, I'd cover some in front of the imbalances or 350 when the imbalances are due to come out. But look, that's a nice little formed wedge there. You have a bottom, you have a higher low, you form the wedge, you make the break. That's why I wanted to add to instead of subtract the Apple just there. If the market, like I said, if the market gets back to 15.9, I think that's pretty good for a recovery. We could go more than that. But if we can do that, we can do that before these imbalances come out. Look at that. We just got the punch.
Neil, this is
already
sweet.
have to cover it.
Yes, just two. Sweet on the rebound here. Yes. This is part of it, man. We share, and honestly, I know we shout out Arun a lot on the show, and I know there's a lot of love for Arun, but the fact that he's taught me so much about holding some of these positions, man, like I could have got clapped out of Ford so long ago, man, but we stayed in this name. We could have gotten absolutely destroyed on Microsoft, but we stay in the name. We take a higher look. Sometimes you got to let these things happen, but at the same time, guys, you know, the NASDAQ did make a move back to the upside. I don't know if that's going to hold. We only have 10 minutes now until the numbers come out, but we are getting out of Microsoft right now. 55 cents in the money on Softy, and this is a big position, man. We took 4 times our shares here on Ford. Like, I just had enough. Enough is enough. When the market falls, man, sometimes you got to take a stance, and I'm over it. So you know what, Bear? You got...
That didn't last
Get
very
out of
long.
here, that went a little further than I thought. Get out of here, Bear.
Well, it is pretty light. I mean, it's...
That's what I mean. Like, just whoo, took off there. But you know, maybe I got to go get that thing and turn it into a bull. But there we go. Ford taking that out. 30 cents now in the money as Microsoft comes back. But we did take that out above 319 there, guys. Our best out, 319.25 there. So yeah, take advantage of any bump ups. Like we said, this has been a big trade there for me today. I mean, not so much on Microsoft. Just watching it, it's not a very profitable name yet, but Ford is, and that's a runner right now. We're loving this Ford trade, let alone if it goes all the way back up, man. That should be great.
Johnny Rodriguez,
What's up, Johnny?
We will look at the imbalances every single day. They're not due for another 10 minutes or so, but yeah, we'll on a Fed day.
We're not going to look. Forget
We
it.
got them in front of us, but we're not going to share with you guys. In retrospect, I mean, you could have just flipped it back, like you said, instead of throwing the poor nameless bear away. The poor nameless bear.
Get out of here, Bears. We don't
abusing. That, you know why you threw the bear?
Why
because you're a Packers fan, and only a Packers fan would chuck the bear.
Aaron Rodgers went into Soldier Field and told everybody that he owns them, like right in.
Yeah, because that's hard to do.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not going to like take any like, you know, and beating down the Bears. I mean, your Bills could probably beat the Bears, man. I mean, but okay.
Of course they.
I know.
Come on.
Okay, but here we go. Back up to the upside. We just took another piece out on Ford, man. You're right up to 70s. Like this trade, honestly, the amount of shares that was. I mean, that's why we have the. Look at the average price, 53. How do we have that? It's because we didn't. It's almost irrelevant, these prices. But as you go back up to the upside, let's just see what happens here with Ford. Microsoft failing a little bit there. That move was definitely maybe a little premature there. That's why we took that out. We're going to sit here again, one more piece above 319, and then we'll let it fly. But for right now, pretty happy with this Ford trade, man. Watch, JP Morgan's probably all the way back. I could care less. Wow, no, JP Morgan goes to 164. So yeah, we're not at the highest spot we've been at all day, but we're not far away, man, from that. So we definitely survived today. And look at Palantir. That hit 1685. That is the bottom, and I don't even have to look at this. This is the bottom on that crazy earnings day that was happening. You could see, where's my daily chart here? This day, yeah, see right there. That was an easy one. Right here, the bottom is actually 1650 or so, and then we closed the day at 21 that day. So Palantir does have the opportunity to get back up to the upside, but this is cracking lower and lower, man. I mean, you can rewind the tape, and the good thing about all of this is we have all of our stuff studied. We told you back in early December that as soon as Mr. Powell became no friend of traders, you knew that you had to rotate into a few different names and get out of some of these high valuation names. We've been talking about that forever.
If you're risk averse, you can do it early, like too early, obviously.
Too early, yeah.
But that's the thing. Like also having some of those things in your portfolio at all times gives you some cover to not have to time it. Was it Steve that had this? I want to make sure I give the right credit here. Steve G, and I like this name, so my vote, I'm down with it. Ish can be the name of the bear. So when you see him and it's a bear, he's bear-ish. I like it.
Okay,
right?
so then what's the name of the bull?
Well, I don't know.
What about bullish?
I know, but like, yes, but that's too easy.
I'm gonna flush that name down. I know you like it.
Sean's hating on it, Steve. I'm with you, Steve. I got your back.
Really,
Steve.
you would think his name should be Ish?
Ish.
I don't know. I think the chat will be with me on this one. But I'm with all you guys. It's great. It's a good idea. I feel like there's more to come on that.
Then you can also say he is the Ish, and you know what I'm talking about.
But bullish though. I like the bullish. Thank you, Goldman, for that credit there on Ford. Yeah, it's really. I'm going to call it a day saver because that is what it was, man. We were negative on the day heading into that Ford trade, and now we've almost made back our day. So, yeah, that's good. I mean, we're positive, obviously, but made it back, to our higher spot there. So, yeah, Ford, we did empty a little bit of that out. We still are thinking that the imbalances will come out and be positive, but we are emptying the clip out on Ford. We're out of less than half, man. We're only out of about 40% up here. So it might be a little early to ring that register. Maybe I should get that bear back and turn it into a bull. But yeah, get out some more Ford here. Can't celebrate the victory and then have it go all the way back down, right? So let's take out some more Ford here. Brendan, I believe it was.
A while ago.
Well, semiconductor, one from the semiconductor group, guys, just popping up here. EMAN, NYSE Arca Exchange, up to 185 on huge volume here. I was reading in the pre-market this morning. This is one that's also participating in CES this year. So heads up for EMAN, guys.
All right, go ahead.
I was just going to say, looking at some other names, is Apple basically now back to flat? Oh, that's on the re-entry, by the way. Like, I had it a little bit lower, but I added to it back in the 60s here. And watching Boeing trying to make a bit of a break as well. If we could have sustained this move, I'd look to maybe take something else. We're only 5 minutes away from imbalances, so I don't really want to be putting anything else on. Fine sort of holding on to things. I'm now on the bid to cover sends and get all out of it. Checking back in some other names that look like... Whoops. Oh, now you get it wrong the first time on Peloton. Yep. There we go. Peloton right on that low. I want to watch this for tomorrow because it's held this $32 even level pretty much throughout this bloodbath. And, of course, my daily as well. But you're looking at fresh lows. You pull back, you peel back the daily chart on Peloton if it even wants to do this for me here. And it's just absolute bloodbath. But 32 has been held. That could be actionable tomorrow. I'm not taking a break this late in the day with only 5 minutes to go till the imbalances come in, but 32, that could be one to watch. Peloton, can't find a bid it. The market continues to go. That's a decent level. Anything that holds a level that lets you flush. It could have been a firm 80, but that already broke today. Peloton 32 right there for you.
Yeah, so remember when I said like my days like getting infinitely better? Well, then all of a sudden Microsoft happened, and now it's right back to these lows. Like I'm debating buying more here, but as you can see, man, the NASDAQ looks like it just wants to crack, lower here. So again, not sure what's going to be coming into the imbalances, but sorry, this is the ES. It doesn't really matter, but the ES not holding either. We could quickly switch this back to the NQs just real quick now to see what's happening. Okay, the NQ's actually a little bit better, not on their bottom. So let's keep the NQs up because our Ford trade, we've emptied a majority of that out now. And we do hold about 30%, a little bit more than 30% left on this trade. So long 53s now on Ford. I think I'm going to let this settle down now and see if it can go back. And hey, look, if it comes back down here and we get stopped out, we've already sort of made that money back. Obviously not as much as we wanted to, but that's not Ford's fault. It's Softy's fault, as this is just breaking right now. Good thing we got, I mean, can you imagine like 5 minutes ago, we got it out at 319.25, and now you're dipping back to these lows. Let's try in one more piece down here. We have 317 staring us in the face. That breaks. I think this is worth a long into the imbalances.
You know, I'm gonna be kicking myself over this one because we opened the show and Brendan talked about IMMX, and I pulled it up and was like, okay, well, you know, it pops into that $8 range where it did the last couple of days and failed. Probably a short at that price. Look, the market on a Fed day, you're going to be looking at the big caps and you're going to ignore the small caps a little bit in those runners. Probably shouldn't have done that. This went right to $7.90 in front of $8 and is now trading at $6.85. So that flushed like an absolute rock. I suppose that was low-hanging fruit. Instead, I'm doing things like fighting Apple here, which if I didn't reload it, let's go back. If I didn't reload it, I'd be sitting pretty, but I did reload 176.60 at that price. I did take some at 25s, and then covered those at 80, but now I'm in at that 62 price and just gonna lose it back on Apple. I won't be negative on it unless it breaks like 176 even, which it could do, and I didn't get out, but I am gonna get out if it breaks that 176 because the market doesn't wanna hold up, and we're very close to those imbalances, so it is what it is. You'd like to see us rally off of this here, but unless we get some really, really big buy imbalances, it's not seeming like it wants to do that. And thank you, Mark, once again, as usual, for the super chat there. Blink Squeeze Chatter, 0 shares available to short. Once I'm get my stop order in here on Apple, I'm going to double check to see if we have locates and what price it might be to give you that info.
On what? What
It was
stock?
Blink charging, he said.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's probably going to be
It's just chatter, so I guess online chatter of a squeeze there.
Okay, good. Yeah, so Microsoft right now, we are long at 318.28. It's not even close to, a day record or anything like that, but we are getting ready to get out if it does crack below 317. I'm just hoping that these imbalances come out to the buy side here, and people just kind of say enough is enough, and let's see, because it's never nice, man, when the NASDAQ or any market closes on its day's low. So we're going to see what does come through here. Yuck. It's getting worse and worse and worse here for Softy to the downside. They're just hitting high quality names today, which is not good. These have been an area that we could have. Oh, okay. I just got out at 66 again there on Ford. I didn't even realize I had an offer. I was looking at my net change there, but we just took a 66 fill somehow. Now it's coming back in. But we're going to wait. We only have a minute left. I just hope we don't crack below 317 before that minute comes. So that could happen here. Keep going to the upside, man. I just don't want it to touch 317 until 50, because I'd rather be wrong on obviously a sell imbalance than it just floating down, taking me out, and then ripping back up on a buy imbalance. So we'll try to be in this name. But again, if it breaks 317, we do have our rules. And this was, again, not a great look for me today. But I just, I really have been watching Microsoft, and it doesn't spend a lot of time down below the 50-period moving average when it goes there. It was last there in October. And again, if you look at that, this is 294. It goes down to 280. So that's come on, man. We have 20 more seconds. Just hold the line. But we have right there. That was, what did I just say that was? 94 down to 80. So that's $14. Right now, that's 333 down to 317. It's literally almost $14 again, a little more than that through today. But here we go, man. With only 10 seconds left, 5 seconds left. Here we go. The imbalances are out. And Microsoft right now doesn't really do much.
Apple's a 1 million sell.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. So that means that Microsoft's probably on here as well. I don't see it, but let's see what it's doing to Apple. Not doing that's the daily chart. What's it doing on the minute chart? It's creating Apple movement here, but not much. We got to go over to Microsoft.
Yeah, Apple didn't do much. I got out of it anyways, and I guess I could have held in, saved like 10 pennies or so. But either way, I just wanted to cover AT&T, $2.5 million to sell there. Cisco, 900,000. They're not huge imbalances, oddly enough. Intel's 500,000 shares. I'm actually interested to see how that holds up today. Sometimes you look at it, not on the lows, like value type stocks look pretty good here, and that's gonna be one of them. Like we said, like you just want to have some things in your portfolio that'll hold up a little bit better. But the market, there's definitely not enough buy imbalances in here to look like it's going to turn anything. Most of these it's pretty mixed, but most of it is to the sell side, it looks like.
Yeah, I just took another piece of Ford there at 64 on that move up. It actually went to 60. Went to 68. So we're just trying to get out of this. We'll put another offer there, see if we can get that. Softy, so yeah, it's going to crack through, and we're going to be out of this one, so I might as well just cancel this. We did get a little bit of a bump on that number back up to 50s. There it goes. It's going to break right now. We did take another piece at 22s, and then quickly out at 50, just trying to lessen the blow here, because it does look like the NASDAQ is going to continue to make that move down here and take out this Austin 317. We're not going to hold to Austin 316. That's too low. So right now, Microsoft, look, it's going to be a dollar hit at the end of the day, and it's going to put me into my worst stock of the day here, as we just kept buying this all the way down, and we didn't get any reprieve here on that number. So we were just sort of hoping that would come through. It doesn't look like it.
I just want to get some context, because I know we always talk about the imbalances. We get lots of new viewers at times here. So Apple, I said the 1 million imbalance because, and I'm using my small one, unfortunately. I have a bigger one, but I can't show it here. It's the fourth largest imbalance at just under 1 million shares, but it's done 75 million shares, and it's $1 trillion company. So that's not a gigantic number. It sometimes can make a bit of a movement. It is down 10, 20 cents. So if you're scalping something, certainly you're going to pay attention to it, because it might move it just enough that you'll take your profit or want to cover it before it hits your stop, just things like that. But this is not that's not going to tank Apple a couple of percentage points. Every now and then you will see something huge where you'll get a monster move, it'll reverse the stock from down 2% to up on the day, or you'll get a real capitulation. But that's not going to move the needle for an Apple. And if we saw something that was whoa, goodness, that is gigantic for that stock, we'd probably point it out. Rivian a couple of weeks ago
had a ridiculous imbalance.
imbalance, and I think that definitely moved it. When it's that influential, we'll let you know. But always consider the notional value, consider the average shares traded on the day when trying to look at those imbalance numbers.
Okay. Okay, Benny the Bear, or Bull or Bullish, or whatever you want to call that thing. Microsoft, thank God, man. We rolled the dice at that 317 level, and wow, yeah, paid off right there. We just took that out on the upside. We're still in it, but we emptied out our clip a little bit there. I want to say, so it's not going to be my worst stock now. Obviously, it didn't crack through. That came very close, man. That went down to 316.99 right there. So again, you know, a few more pennies lower, we would have been out, but we do take advantage of that pop up, and we just got some out. Remember, our price was 87. We just got some out 65s there, so that was pretty lucky. But we also did take a bid at 35, so a little bit of movement there on Softy. Let's see, man. We have 7 minutes to see what Mr. Softy wants to do, getting back to the upside here. Come on, market. Come on, hedge funds, algorithms. You don't want this thing to finish at the bottom, do you? So let's see if we can get this back up a little bit. We've already cracked below 16,000 here today. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Wow, Ford. Come on, Ford. Okay. A good little close here, man. Ford all the way back up. I was sitting at 75. We almost got hit there. It went to 72. Let's take advantage of this bump up. Wow. I apologize for not being long or being short anything, but honestly, some of these longs that we picked up here on Ford was fantastic. The Microsoft's going to be a bumble, but you know, Ford, fantastic, man. We're long at 53. It's at 72 right now, and it was just from notionally, was a big part of my day. So Ford definitely takes my frown and turns that upside down.
There you go. Little thumbs up action. There's not a heck of a lot in the ways of earnings, but we're actually starting to get into a few here. I think we're going to Brendan in a quick second, but one of them, and I know was on the board, and I wanted to point it out because it is, like Walgreens has had a bit of a run. They are making a spin-off that's contributed to that, but getting very close to those highs. And in this environment, something that might get a little bit of profit taking there. So we're going to be watching Walgreens. It did also have a bit of a spike. I didn't see an imbalance on it, but that actually had a bit of a spike right at 350 or so. I didn't see it on the locator, but obviously it has small buy and balance. I guess some buying in front of those earnings. And then you see when things pair off at 355, sometimes doing that counter trade off of resistance ends up working. You see that happen here. Brendan, I already just said Walgreens, but a couple of other names that might be interesting as we get back towards earnings.
Yeah, I mean, this week kind of light still, but next week and the week after going to get into a few more notable names, guys, but that's mostly tomorrow before the open.
Yeah, look, you're just talking about, like I said, Walgreens. Bed Bath & Beyond, usually interesting just because of its short interest. I don't know that that's going to be a gigantic factor in here today. And that was certainly bigger last year when a lot of those names were running. But, you know, Conagra, I don't really care about too much. Constellation Brands is probably usually a pretty boring stock. But, you know, just stick to what's moving. Like, we haven't talked about Carnival Cruise Lines. We've been ignoring travel, but that's at a pretty interesting $21 level. You might remember that from sort of breaking out. It actually had a breakout and then a dip at 21 a few days ago, finding some support there, and now retesting some of those levels on Carnival. I'd look at also 20. If you get a short through 21, we'll be looking at the 20 level as well on CCL, so the travel name staying in play. Of course, oh my goodness, Apple. Sometimes, I guess it did move it. The imbalancer. I got out of it. I'm saying that's not that big of an imbalance. It's not going to move it too much. But now Apple actually on the low of the day. So it looks like we just broke 4,700 on the ES.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, we're headed. Yeah, we just broke 15.8 on the NASDAQ. Looks like we're going to close on those lows after all.
Yeah, and it's actually, I mean, I'm just focusing here on Microsoft. We were actually able to get, like, every single time it bumped back up, man, we took some more out. So Softy does come right back to that 317, and we're just emptying it out. I mean, it's going to look like we're long at 26, but you guys know Softy, not a great name here to pick up at the bottom. If this is a week tomorrow, I'm a little nervous. These are great prices, man, to get this back in. If Microsoft touches, like, if that's another bad day tomorrow, I will be buying. I mean, I prematurely bought CRM and Shopify yesterday. I'm still fine. Those are going to be in the long-term account, so they should be okay. But at the same time, Microsoft, I don't think, can be ignored at some of these levels. So we'll see here. Just another out as we go. Yes, sir, Ford. This is honestly, like, It hasn't been a great day. Obviously, people probably aren't making a whole hell of a lot of money, and I do apologize, man. I haven't really been looking at the chat here, just been looking. We did call Lucid as well. Thank you for the credit on Lucid call today as well. We called that 36 buy. I see that there's some love there on the chat for that one. We did call this down here on Lucid, so hopefully some of you did have that, and I did like it for a swing trade as well off this 36 bottom. So, congratulations to anybody that took that advice there on LCID. And it was actually, did I close? I might have closed the daily chart by accident here. Yeah, I did, as all chaos happens. There it is. So this is what we were talking about here with Lucid, this 36 bottom. There's only 2 minutes left. I'm in position still.
Yeah.
So right here, that's fine. I can manage it. Just showing you guys this 36 bottom might be something. So watch out for that. I like the swing trade here on Lucid. Yeah, we have to be flat.
We got 90 seconds before the bell just came in. Like, I covered everything, and I'm not going to get into anything, but we are going to close in the lows. I didn't mention, we talked about Bed Bath & Beyond a little bit there, but they're down 11% today and getting absolutely crushed, right? That's why in the context of like the whole ocean of potential squeezes, you are right on these 13 lows. So you better believe that should be actionable, or at least interesting when it gets to the open tomorrow morning. Maybe it bounces off that level and it has a bit of a run, but it's at that key price. And a lot of things are when you close in the lows. It's never a good look, but that's the environment we're in. We knew it was a raising rate environment this year. Any speeding up of it, any action from the Fed or changes in their language is going to start to move the markets. For short-term traders, it creates movement and opportunities. Of course, you have to make sure that you're protecting your long-term account from those things. I feel like, and I think, looking back, yeah, it's Lucas on the bell. I could have just looked at my screen. Lucas is going to be on the bell today. He's got the beanie on, and I'm not sure who's lowering it, but it's one of those days where we're probably happy that the market is going to close unless you are short, because we are still selling off going into the end of this day. And I should have it on the NQ so you can quickly see. We're just absolutely flushing into this, guys. Continuing to go downside. But tomorrow's going to be a new day. There were some good shorts. I wish I had held on to them. I covered every short way too early on this afternoon show. Countdown getting dropped.
Yes, good.
Lucas going to be ringing the bell.
What up, Lucas? What up,
Don't
Lucas?
make us go deaf like Randy would.
He won't. He's a good guy there. Thank you, Luke. 2-1. Hit it. That's pretty appropriate.
That's better.
I like that. I like that one.
Randy's out of
Lucas,
control.
man of many emotions there. Did you see that? He's very,
Lucas, this is why. He's a black belt, right? So
right. And if you're a black belt, you have to be very, very disciplined there.
Very calm.
Oh, look at this. Here he goes. Even putting the mallet back. Thank you very much.
The mallet that Arun broke.
Lucas, yeah, the one that Arun was so peed that day. Bang! And the whole mallet flew out of his hand. Thank you to Maggie and Lucas for that appropriate bell ringing. Hit the like button if you haven't already, guys. Let's get going here. What's up, Brendan?
Yeah, it's great to see so many joining us this afternoon. Thanks for that, guys. Come back. We do this every day from 8:30 to 4. So come back if you're just joining us for the first time. Here's a look at, we closed basically on the lows there, 1.94 for the S&P. The Dow, though, holding up the best here, not even a full percent. The NASDAQ pretty ugly, 3+ to the downside at the end of the day. And yeah, cryptos down here got hit pretty hard there. Along the same lines as some of the growth in tech stocks, guys, for Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, like everything does. TSX will be a little bit relatively strong because of what's in it, right? Like the banks and some of the materials holding it up a little bit better. But even the Dow's down today. Like, it's not as if any of the indexes managed to hold up. Tomorrow, like we said, is another day. There's a couple of earnings to look at, Bed Bath & Beyond, and then we'll also be watching. I'll be watching Walgreens as well. And then next week, I think it gets way more interesting for earnings.
Yeah, it sure does. And, I just want to show you something here because Microsoft, we were able to get out. It is going to be obviously a negative stock for us, but look what happened here in the aftermarket. Like, we got out on that first of all, we got out in the 20s and 30s when it was going. We held a small piece, get out when it breaks through 317 as we talked about it. But this drops all the way to Austin 316 down there at the bottom. So, wow, a nice little move to the downside here. Palantir was the trade of the day, and we did talk about it here. And, we got out of the way real quick there on Palantir. Now, as you can see, nice little barcode action at 17. We'll have to wait to see Palantir. Yeah, me too, Charles. Thank you so much. Look at this here, guys. Already looking forward to the sticky note there. So thank you, Charles. We will do that tomorrow for you. We'll have the sticky note up, but not if we don't get to 1,000 likes. So let me check here quickly. How many likes do we have? I mean, I should make this a little bit higher. We're at 1K. Hit the like button, guys. 3,000 watching right now. If you haven't done that, turn that guy not upside down. Turn it blue, black, whatever it is on your system there. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolutely fantastic day. Lucas, Rob, Maggie, as always, man. We wouldn't be able to do the show if we didn't have the support from the back end there. So thank you so much to you guys as well. And Trader Prad holding down, although we had a lot of different issues today. Thank you, Trader Prad. If he's still around there.
Held that fort.
No, there it is. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Brendan, a good day, or were you able to be positive today?
Oh, yeah, very good day. Obviously, lots of volatility coming back in. So, as you said, guys, I'm choking. I'm so excited. As you said, we'll look forward to more possibly tomorrow because of the way things closed today. I think it might be a multi-day move here.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a improvement as well. But, yeah, that's it. NASDAQ 100 sinks most since March. There's Prad. Hey, what's up, Prad?
Prad in the four.
He's in that,
Prad
Prad's
joining
in the
the
four
show.
box right there. Does Prad's mic work? Yeah, Prad, positive day for you, my friend? Yes, sir. What was the big one you had? Do you have anything in that close?
Rivian.
Rivian, awesome. What a great tank Rivian was. Good job. Trader Prad.
Pay for that short.
Yeah, pay for those shorts, guys. Join us tomorrow where all of us will be here. Tomorrow it should be another fun day. 8:30. You want to be here, man. Set your alarms. Like, put in notifications. Tell your kids, man. Tell your wife. Tell your friends. Share this program. The market is back. The volatility is back. Tomorrow's going to be our best show ever. And we'll see you then, guys. Ciao.
Bye, guys.